Okay. Oh shit, I need to put that on mute. I need to put that on mute. Just crack on with this. Yeah, let's have a discussion about how these demons have been able to keep aliens, extraterrestrials, the whole topic of it undercover for so long, you know? Something as big as this. So let's talk about it. Let's unpack this shit. Give it 2 minutes, grab yourself what you need to grab, and let's speak through this subject. Let's speak through this subject of little green men and how our governments have managed to just keep it as a myth, to just keep it as some type of conspiracy theory for so long. So long, it's been a long time. Even if we're just talking about the 1940s with all that Roswell stuff, you know what I'm saying? 2 minutes, let me go and use the toilet and we'll kick off. Right, let's crack on with this, man. Let's discuss these little green men. It's an important discussion as well because how far the subject's come since the lockdown started. If you do a comparison of people that think aliens are real versus people who think aliens are not real before 2020, it's a lot different now in 2022. Like a lot more people will use the word belief. A lot more people will believe in aliens today than they did in 2020. But there's still a lot of people who don't. You understand? Who are still on the old paradigm. I want to speak about this. Who partnered the women of the chain set by way of issue. I asked the ancestors to give me permission to speak on this subject with whoever joins into this discussion, just to bring some clarity to the subject. So yeah, aliens. Shout out to you, the person who's tuned in. Even if it's just me and you, I'm happy to do this. Do you understand? I'm leaving these messages, as you know, for people. Yo, man, that light's a bit funny. I don't like how that light's hitting me. Yeah, we've spoke about in our previous lives how human beings were fashioned, we use the word fashioned, by supreme beings, yeah, by higher beings than us, or gods, deities, extraterrestrials, yeah. Most people today use the word God in a religious sense, yeah, and so these beings are today referred to as God and his angels. But we're going to go right back in the story as a kind of recap to bring it up to modern times as to how they've kept this, we call it a spell, how they've kept this wool pulled over our eyes so we really can't see what's going on behind the scenes with our controllers, okay? And we'll put a bit of Bible in there just to give you a bit of a timeline and a bit of content to what we're speaking about, like we always do, okay? So first and foremost, I want to say, yeah, when we think about God, because we've been programmed through religion, we don't understand that when we open up this subject of God being really a plural, a group of beings, as in the Anunnaki or the Elohim or the Neteru or the Orisha, we've got to understand. Let me put this on mute. We've got to understand that. Okay, it's on silent now. We've got to understand, just like how we evoluted or we grew in the cosmos on Earth, yeah, in the cosmos, grew in the cosmos, so did these beings. So did the Elohim or the Neteru or the Anunnaki or the Nomos or the Orisha or Igigi, whatever name you want to put on that group of supreme beings. They also evolved in the universe. So, as I've said a lot of times, they have the same emotions that we have. All of our emotions that we have as human beings, from the good emotions to the bad emotions, from love to hate, from anger, jealousy, deception, all of these traits we get from higher beings than us, who fashioned us, yeah, who created human beings and put human beings on this planet, different groups of human beings, yeah. This was done through two major experiments that the extraterrestrials did. One of them began 17,250,000 years ago, okay? And that was done after the reformation of Tiamat, after Nibiru had crashed. That was done in the Nile Valley by what we deem as Neteru or Elohim or extraterrestrials, yeah? And that was sanctioned by the Most High Anu. So what they was doing 17,250,000 years ago, the algae, fungi and bacteria that had come off of Nibiru in the crash 24 billion years ago, as I said, it started to interact with the earth environment with nitrogen and hydrogen and water and sunlight, and it began to produce other creatures, what science likes to call protozoa or single cell organisms, and they start their Darwinist evolution story from these same protozoa, which is single-celled organisms which turned into metazoa, which have more than one cell, and then grow into more complex creatures, how they talk about their Darwinist evolution thing, yeah? But that algae, fungi and bacteria was part of a project, was used as a part of a project to seed this planet with a new set of with a new set of beings, what they was going to call the new being, or the Nubians, what we call today Nubians. So these new beings, or these small new beings, the Twa people, were created using the DNA that had mixed and intermingled from off of the Nibiru crash and the DNA that was already on Earth, the hominid DNA and stuff. That resulted in what we call, I'm giving you a recap here, genus Homo and shit like that. Different species, genus Homo to Homo erectus to Homo habilis, a different, more sophisticated type of Homo erectus. And then you get the second human project, Adama project, which was done by another group of supreme beings who we will call the Anunnaki, who came down in Sumeria 450,000 years ago, yeah, and founded the city that they, or the outpost that they call today Eridu, home away from home, which was named by Enki. That was also sanctioned, yeah. And in that project, the beings that were grown from the first project, meaning the Twa man, he was used and upgraded into what we're calling today Kushites or Homo sapiens or Nubians again, yeah? Nubians for the small man, Nubians for us too. Same word, same people, same genetic root. Okay, so there was two projects. But a lot of people, and you'll find this when you go into the topic yourself, as in YouTube and the UFO community, they never really speak about the race of these supreme beings. Yeah, they never really get down to race, because if they're human or humanoid, then obviously they must look like humans. And the question is, which human group on Earth represents the Anunnaki? Who do they look like? We've spoke about this in other lives if you go through them. Do you understand what I'm saying? But what I want to say is, a lot of these people who don't speak about race, they do it for a reason. They do it deliberately, okay? And also, they never mention that the project, the second project, the Adama project, which is called on Sumerian tablets, the Lulu Melu project, that project was interfered with at the end. Archons, or who you want to call reptilians, interfered with the project, and they started breeding their own groups of humans if you read Genesis properly. And when I say Archons, I'm not just talking about reptilians, I'm talking about reptilians and everyone else who's a part of that galactic republic. Remember, you got one third of the beings in this cosmos that sided with the galactic republic. So you got tall whites, you got Aldebarans, you even probably got some Riskians that is all up in that galactic republic and shit. You see what I'm saying? So they started on the Galactic Republic when they interfered with the project. They started breeding their own groups of humans, such as what we've spoken about, Aldebarans and shit, and they ran their own programs. And this is what Job 9:9 is getting into when it's telling you, when Job is busy telling you about who built Pleiades and Aldebaran and the Draco star system. And Job is an astrologer. All of a sudden, Job's giving you all his knowledge about the stars and shit. He really talking about these beings here. That's why he's so interested with that, with those groups of stars. But like I said, you get Aldebarans, tall whites, yeah, reptilians, greys, insectoids, who are breeding different human groups, yeah, because there's different human groups being spoken about in Genesis when it talks about the creation of humans. It's not one type of human they were creating. Each being or group of gods, yeah, not each being, each group of gods, yeah, like the Galactic Federation, which is Anu and them, which is the good guys who did a project, who did the original project to make themselves acclimatized to the Earth by mixing their DNA with the Earth DNA, and that resulted in us people. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then you get other groups who were making their own groups that don't look like us. So you will have, for instance, like tall whites or Pleiadians who are planting genes on the planet so it can influence the erasure of the melanin, and then they can shape this defected Nubian into their breeds. And beyond that, they've got their own hominids like the Neanderthal and the Cro-Magnon and the Denisovan. They've got their own projects going on. These are different hominids, completely different to the Homo erectus and the Homo sapien and stuff. You've got other strands of hominids that is more like monkeys and simians and shit, projects being ran by different nefarious beings who were interfering with this Earth project, this Project Blue Rock, okay? And this led to conflicts between these supreme beings. So when the Bible's telling us about Revelation 12:7-9, and that there was war in heaven and Michael and his angels fought against the serpent, yeah, and the old serpent, and the old serpent was cast out, which we know is of the Elohim. He was cast out of the Elohim through Orion. And the question there should become, where were they cast to? If they fell down, they came to a lower realm. The 19th galaxy is where Elohim is. The gateway is Orion. So be underneath, if you want to go, if you want to speak in terms of underneath and above and layers and shit, our galaxy would be lower than the higher galaxy. So when it's telling you about the old serpent was cast out of the heavens, he was cast down to the earth or our solar system, because these Vulcan Draconians, they spent a lot of time living on planet Titan and on Jupiter, one of Jupiter's planets, Titan, before they relocated to the Draco star system. Do you understand what I'm saying? Remember, I'm always taking you somewhere, so I'm giving you this background so we can discuss this shit in today and relate it to today's events that's going on around us, okay? So they were cast down here, yeah? Now, I say that to say, when they were cast down here, the wars didn't stop. They were still having these wars among themselves now that these reptilians and stuff are down on lower worlds. And what they started doing when they was breeding, when they interfered with the project and started breeding their own hominids, they started using their hominids as soldiers. So that's why when you go into the ancient texts and you go into whether it's Sumerians, Akkadians, Babylonians, Chaldeans, Egyptians, Aztecs, a lot of them, the times, the text will tell you that, yo, this God told us to go to war against this people and that God. And that God told his people to go against that God and her people. And this God used to go at the front of his armies and fight with his man then. Or Seth had his humans that were backing him and fighting with him. And Horus had his humans that were backing him and fighting with him. You see what I'm saying? So different deities had different groups of humans, and they were using them as slaves, miners, soldiers, servants in their temple, so they could just live lofty and put their feet up while you feed them grapes and stuff. There were different groups of humans made for different functions and for different reasons and by different gods, and they included these humans in their conflicts. And that's why when you read about places like Sumeria, and they try to give you that, oh, Sumeria is older than Egypt shit, people don't get that. They try and tell you about Sumeria like Sumeria was a unified nation, like Iridu, Lagash, Shurupak, what else? Erech or Uruk, Lhasa, all these different cities in ancient Sumeria. They're trying to have it like, trying to give it to us, like they was all unified under one ruler and there was one king of, nah, these were more like city-states. So they wasn't a unified theocratic kingdom like Kemet was, where you got one Suten who's ruling over North and South Kemet. Do you understand? And sometimes even Kush. In Sumeria, it was more like this city's got his god, and the god is the king of that city. So in the middle of that city that's got walls around it, you have a temple or a ziggurat, a step pyramid, and at the top of that step pyramid is the god's house, or that Anunnaki lives there. He used to live there. He would fly in his craft, land his craft in that bitch, in that temple, yeah, and and on the top of the temple is where he lives, and people come there to worship him. This is how these reptilian gods and certain Anunnakis were moving on Earth. Do you understand what I'm saying? So these gods had their own groups of humans worshipping them. They had their own zones and districts or their own kingdoms and nations. And they used humans when they had wars amongst each other. When they fell out with each other, they're coming with their humans to kick your door down or kick your walls down in your city and kill out your people and stuff. This was how religion started. These gods were known as lofty ones or powerful ones in Sumeria. And when you get to the Hebrew text, they call them lofty beings. Like Elohim, some people translate that as lofty ones. Some people translate it as supreme ones or powerful ones, linking it back to Sumeria. But some other people, they interpret it as lofty ones. And lofty means for you to like, I'm sat here and I got gal feeding me grapes and all of this stuff, and I dictate and they write down. I say jump, they ask how high. Like we were lofty. You understand what I'm saying? Living like deities. Yeah, they wanted people to worship them. They had temples on the top of these step pyramids. They wanted people the power that comes from your energy, because it's like food. When we eat, we get energy from the food. These beings get energy from us worshiping them and shit. Do you understand? So these conflicts of the gods were between city-states. They try and give it you like summer was all unified and shit. That's not the case at all. They were city-states. They try and compare it to Kemet, to tell you it's older than Kemet and that, and it's a half truth, because it is. It was the cities of the Anunnakis, but they weren't unified as in summer, like this great kingdom. Yo, they were fighting each other. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the worship of these aliens became religions, because like I said before in older in previous lives, any Anunnaki or alien that comes to Earth and tells you you must worship him and be a slave for him or her, then that being has got an agenda that's got their best interests at heart, not yours. Do you understand? So therefore, many times you can go back to the tablets in Sumeria or the Nile Valley or the Yucatan or America, and it will show you that these gods are working in their own best interests a lot of the time. Do you understand? They're not working in our best interests, and certainly not in the beginning when they first started this project. Like I said, they were going through that. They're on their own evolutionary timeline. Do you understand? So you had gods like prominent names you will hear when you do your studies, like Ishtar. She was crowning a lot of these Sumerian kings, and she was disagreeable. She's the daughter of Nana Sin, and Nana Sin is disagreeable, and he's the son of Enlil. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you got people like Ishtar, and then you get her sister Arishkigal, yeah, Enlil, yeah, Ninurta, who's another son of Enlil, who's like the biggest warrior of all the Anunnaki on Enlil's side. Yeah, you get Nergal, who's another warrior. He's the biggest warrior. He's the son of Enki, so he's the biggest warrior on Enki's side. Then you get other grandsons of Enlil like Baal. All of these types of small fry gods is what I call them, because they're the gods that when they came to Earth, they started telling people to worship them and stuff, and they started getting their power in that way. And they started making arguments in the council of the Anunnaki, like, hold on, Enki and Enlil have got their kingdom. I want my own kingdom. Ishtar got given her own kingdom in the Indus Valley and shit. And then she got fed up with that. She's like, this is some boring thing. Do you understand? And I'm not saying that to knock the Indus Valley. Some of my favorite temples are in the Indus Valley. I love them. I'm just giving you what Ishtar said. She felt like, yo, she want to rule Sumeria or Egypt or somewhere. They giving her some second level shit, if you read the tablets and the conversations between her and her uncle Enki. So all of these small fry gods turned themselves into small fry Anunnakis, turned themselves into gods on earth, and the worship of these aliens became the religions of today, even religions in Egypt and Sumerian stuff. I'm not just talking about Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. I'm talking about initially they gave us these religions as a form of control over us. It's a reptilian form of control. You understand? And that's the origin of religion. And the intentions that they did this for, yeah, was because, hold on. They understood quite clearly, these Anunnakis, that humans are dangerous. They know, listen, humans are dangerous. So we're going to need a control system for humans. It's like us breeding tigers or breeding lions. We're gonna have control measures in place. If we've got lions and we're breeding them, and we're going to have some kind of prison enclosed environment where we can keep these lions so they don't spill out and cause havoc in our fucking realm, in our everyday lives and shit. That's the same way you got to look at the human project when you're dealing with Anunnakis. They knew that humans were prone to become something else if they wasn't careful, because the power and potential of humanity from the jump, in the fact that humans were needed. They needed us. You understand? God had a need, or the Anunnaki had a need. They couldn't deal with the mining in the environment of this planet. So they needed to acclimatize themselves to this planet and make workers to do their work for them so they could live lofty as gods on this planet. You understand what I'm saying? So what we became over time scared them, yeah, to the point where they had to put down certain rules and give us certain mind control things to lock off our powers and stuff. And certain spells were cast to maim us and to keep us dumb in this 10% of the brain, because from the jump off there was arguments as to how smart they was to make these beings. It's like, hold on, how smart we gonna make them? Half the Anunnaki is saying, yo, we need to make these guys dumb. Half them are saying, yo, we need to make them smart so they can liberate themselves. These are going to be our children. But anyway, we spoke about all of that kind of stuff before, so I'll skip through that part, yeah? Just to remind you, the worship of the aliens turned into religion, yeah? And what they designed us of, we became something else. That's why when you read Genesis 3:22 and God turns around and says, now look, now the man has become like one of us. That's like when a child loses its innocence. That child's no longer innocent no more. Before that point, humans were dumb. We were innocent. Do you understand? Now with all this Enki knowledge and stuff, and that side of the agenda doing everything they did in the breeding project, Humans have become like gods. We walking around here like gods and shit, man. They did the other side of the agenda didn't like this. They've seen this as dangerous because if we start knowing too much, it's like it closes the gap between them being supreme and us just being some dumb animal. The more smarter we become now, they're becoming less supreme, razzle dazzle. We're starting to see through the glitter now. Hold on, they just like us. And that's dangerous. That's what the Anunnaki seen. That shit is dangerous, and rightly so. I agree with them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what they did was select certain groups of humans, yeah, and give them what they call the divine right to rule. That's their own laws that they use among themselves. Yeah, bloodlines and shit. They chose certain bloodlines, hybridized them bloodlines, and put them bloodlines in place as rulers. So it was no longer the Anunnaki being the rulers, but it's now the humans being the rulers. So the Anunnaki are taking themselves more behind the scene, behind the curtain, because they feel threatened. And this is what we need to understand as humans. We keep going around being scared of aliens. They scared of us. It's like if you made a clone, I'm fucking gonna shit myself when the clone wakes up and starts acting like a human. Because as far as I'm concerned, that nigger ain't no human. That's a fucking creature. And that's how Enlil felt. And half of these Anunnakis like, yo, we've made this creature. And understand this, yeah? I'm sitting closer so I block out that light behind my head. Remember this as well, yeah? At this point, the Anunnaki ain't made no creation like humans. Remember we spoke about Anu and all the worlds he created and all the different beings he created, and we've spoke about even the Anu previously and all the and how he just had the desire to create a new life form, and he made that dragonfly, and that dragonfly went into all these insects, and these insects started taking over into the insect war and shit. Yeah. So when humans were created, that was like the biggest thing the Anunnaki ever did. They ain't never created no creation that mimics them. It's exactly like them. It's more or less a clone. They developed cloning technology and cloned themselves. They was like the first to do it. So when humans came on the scene, it was a big thing. It weren't no small, oh yeah, we just went here and made a bunch of humans and yeah, we rock on somewhere else and do. To them, this was the biggest thing. Like, because a lot of them, if you read the story, the tablets of creation, if you read the Enuma Elish, I've studied them, one of my favorite things to study. Yeah, you start seeing how affectionate these Anunnaki get. I'm talking about on our side of the agenda, the good side. How the more they did this project of breeding these humans, they really didn't know if they was going to pull this off. This is some serious shit for them. Because remember when we speak in them other lives about the theory of everything and consciousness, and how on 1D, we always speaking about 5D and going up. But on 1D, everything has consciousness. This table has consciousness. That's why its atoms stay arranged in the table. That book has consciousness. This glass has consciousness. Otherwise, it wouldn't remain a glass. All the atoms would just fall apart and it would not remain a glass. But on 1D level, it has consciousness. Hydrogen has consciousness. Oxygen has consciousness. Nitrogen has consciousness. So what the Anunnaki did was find a way to use this consciousness on every density so that whatever they're creating will have consciousness. Like we can't do that. We can't even create a 1D consciousness. We can just program shit. Well, that's what it seems, what they show us. But the Anunnaki were able to use the consciousness from its most basic level and design beings, different beings. Do you understand? From mixing elements and making certain different insects and then manipulating the insects into birds and different certain various creatures. But when it came to humans, man, that was the biggest thing ever. Yo, we made ourselves. We fucking made ourselves, Dan. In the physical. Yo, this is scary. This is like humans making a clone. We made a human. Most people say, yo, I don't believe in that shit. That's not real. You understand? That's how big that shit is. That most humans will, yo, that's not real. That's some fake shit. That's some CGI or something. Or you're just mad. Do you understand? So imagine for the Anunnaki when they created this Cadmon or this human. Like, bastard, we made ourselves. It was a big occasion. That's why the Quran gives it to you in the way that it does. Like when he's saying, and then Allah ordered all the angels to bow to this new creation, this Adam, and all the angels bowed to Adam except the devil, Iblis. And the Muslims will tell you that that's because man is higher than these angels or higher than the Anunnakis. So you see, all religions will dissect that story into their own fucking spin-offs and make like a spin-off of the shit, like Power Book 2 and that. Do you understand? That's how you have to look at these different stories. But then when you compare them, you'll find what's common in all of them. It's more likely that that's true because Muslims say that, Christians say that, and Jews say that. They all agree on that, and they don't agree on nothing. So I'm going to take that shit that they all agree on, and I'm going to dig deeper on that. All the shit that they don't agree on, that's less likely to be true. That's more likely to be a Jewish dogma or an Islamic dogma or a Christian dogma. Let's keep going anyway, because I don't want to stretch it too long. So yeah, they pick certain humans, yeah, all of these different groups of aliens, and they made kings, what we call kings and queens and rulers or royal families and shit by way of the bloodlines. And that's why God is so concerned with bloodlines when it comes to the scriptures, especially these Abrahamic scriptures. Like, all of these scriptures are telling you God is all loving and he loves everyone in all caring and shit, but that's bullshit. Otherwise he wouldn't have to pick no bloodlines. He'd just breed, he'd just use anyone because he loves all of us and we're all equal and shit. But based on the words of your Bible and your Quran and your Torah, then God definitely shows favoritism to certain people with certain traits and certain bloodlines, yeah. And that's why it tells you Jesus was the son of this guy, who was the son of him, 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 who was the... Yo, I have to skip them pages sometime. I have to skip this, like, yo, there's too much son of him, son of him, son of... Let me just get past that. You see what I'm saying? Yo, sometimes I force myself to read it just so I can learn names. You understand? But sometimes I can't be asked. I skip that shit. I ain't even gonna lie to you. They gave us the divine right to rule. So in Islam and Christianity and Hebrewism, they speak about the family of Imran, because the family of Imran is who the prophet John the Baptist and the prophet Jesus came through. So we're talking about Mary, and who's the other one? Is it Hannah, John the Baptist's mom? I think it's Hannah. I haven't been in that school Christianity for a long while, so I might get shit mixed up. But yeah, all of them people, like John the Baptist's dad, his mom, Jesus' mom Mary, they trace back to that mythical character King David, and then King David traces back to some other mythical character like Abraham, and then Abraham traces back to some other mythical character like fucking Noah. And so what I'm trying to show you is they're concerned with bloodline, you understand? So this started gaining pace in 10,500 BC when you had an influx of Nephilim, different types of fallen angels that was not supposed to be on earth and interfere with the evolutionary chain of the earth, who came down and started interfering. And how that started was with the raping of young Twa women from the Nile Valley, 10,500 BC. These hybrids also became rogues to the system on earth, and they started to govern their own districts and kingdoms and grow in influence and grow in strength and stuff. So as I've reminded you guys, there's always been two agendas, a good agenda and a bad agenda. Enki's agenda was an agenda for humanity, where he, even though he started as a disagreeable, he switched over and started defending humans. As I said, him and his sister Ninti, they grew very close and affectionate to their project. It was them who was heading the project. 6 other Anunnaki worked with them, but they was the main ones who was the heads of the project, the chemist and the physician. Do you understand what I'm saying? They fell in love with their project. And then you had Enlil, who didn't favor this human project. Obviously, when this human project started, he wasn't the leader of the project. Enki was. When Enki got took off the project, Enlil replaced him. So Enlil didn't have the same attachments to this project that Enki had to this, and Ninti, his brother and sister, had to this project. Do you understand what I'm saying? And as I said, human beings, Enlil, he was just looking at us like, yo, these creatures is dangerous. Yeah, we need to lock these people down. Meaning that, yo, like, you can't have a tiger just running loose in the street, or even a clone. The clone got to have a handler. They'll make a handler go with him and tell you it's his girlfriend or her boyfriend or the wife or whoever. It has to have a handler. You can't just leave it on itself. It's dangerous to itself. It might be dangerous to society. As far as Enlil and them were concerned, like I said, this was a big thing for them. They never did this before. They was like, yo, this is crazy. I don't trust these creatures. I don't like them. They're creatures. And Enki and Ninti was like, they're not creatures, they are children. My wife used her own womb in this experiment. Them humans, they've got my DNA in there. That's my family. So certain tablets that you read about Adafa, who translates into Enoch in the Bible, in Sumeria, is called Adafa. So there will be the tablets of Adafa, Sumerian tablets. And that whole Enoch story they give you about how God came and took Enoch. The Anunnaki came and they trained up. Enki trained up Adafa because as Enki told him on Sumerian tablets, yo, your flesh and my flesh, blood and my blood. So I'm going to have to, and this was an upgrade. How Enki, like I said, he was giving us this different wisdom about astrology and Kundalini and agrarian agriculture and civilization and rare. Do you understand what I'm saying? But because humans were dangerous, and as I said, these extraterrestrials were using their certain groups of humans in their own wars and shit was getting out of hand on Earth. It became a fucking chaos, a free-for-all. Different alien groups fighting with different alien groups, creating different human groups, sanctioned ones, unsanctioned ones, black ones, white ones, disagreeable ones, good ones. Do you understand? It became a madness on Earth. And that peaked in 2024 BC, as we've explained on our other live, yeah, around Dilmun, which is the Sinai. Sinai today, where they told you Moses met God and shit, that was Dilmun, where the Anunnaki, meaning the Riskians, Enki's family versus Enlil's family, the two sons of Anu, went to war. That's how mad it is. They tell us about God like God some perfect shit like God don't have sons, he don't have wives, he don't have daughters, they don't scrap, they don't make mistakes, they don't fall out. Whereas the Sumerian tablets is giving you, yo, hold on, these are like humans. It's like superhumans, but they're humans. Niggas is falling out, niggas is sleeping with another god's wife, stealing his wife, killing his kid. Do you understand? Like fighting over shit, squabbling over shit, getting jealous, stealing shit. Yo, it's crazy. You understand? And that's when you get to see how deep this religious spell is. Because it was hard for me. I came up as a Muslim. They told me Allah was just perfect. You can't see him and he's just perfect. There's nothing you can say, he's just Allah in it. Like, he don't make no mistakes. Yeah, he's got no son, no beginning, no end. Don't even know how he looks. All I know is he's got a throne. That's it. You understand? So when you start hearing the truth about this whole God shit and how, yo, it's hard. You understand? It's not easy, and that's why you must commit to your own research and not just listen to me or anyone else. But it peaked in 2024 BC around the Sinai. Yeah. And like I said, it involved humans too, because these gods were using humans in their wars. So a decision was taken, yeah, at that time. Yeah, I believe this. I can't put this in fact. This is my opinion from my research. I believe that the gods decided at that point, 2024 BC, to leave humans and go into the background. When I say leave humans, I mean like slavery. Picture slavery. You had your overseer there telling you, yo, go plant corn, whip you over your back or whatever, cracking that whip. And then it came to the point where they got smart. Like, bastard, we can't keep having these Haitian revolutions and revolution in Antigua and Jamaica and this fucking spreading. And you know how much this costs to run this shit. We need a simpler system to run this shit. Now we're going to come with the mental slavery, the consumerism, and we're going to restructure this shit. So they reset the shit. So it's the same with the gods in 2024 BC. They realize, yo, this shit is not sustainable with this free-for-all, with all these dangerous fucking humans and all this. They're just privy to certain information and shit. So they took the decision, yeah, to separate themselves from humanity. Up to that point, these extraterrestrials were living on Earth alongside man, yeah, and being worshipped as gods, yeah, and fighting among each other for control of humanity and control of the resources of Earth in this whole matrix, yeah, and the technology that came with it. And the Alpha Draconians, they got the upper hand. And you might ask, well, how could they get the upper hand over the Anunnaki? Ain't the Anunnaki supreme and shit? Like many times I've told you guys, when the Anunnaki first came here, the Riskians, yeah, to mine the gold and stuff like that, they never sent warriors here. They just sent explorers here. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then further to that, their priority was not humans. Oh, let's guard the humans. Like I said, they was doing shit in their best interest, not our best interest. So therefore, that means their main priority is saving their planet risk. You understand? Finding the fucking gold, shipping it to Nibiru, stopping these two squabbling, Enki and Enlil, because Enki's stealing the fucking gold. So he's hampering the project. We don't really care about no humans like that. We care about risk, Iluin, and fixing our planet. So let's get the goal up here, move Enki off the project, put Enlil on the project, and Leo, make sure the fucking goal gets the moon base and gets the Mars base. Get that shit onto Nibiru. That shit takes 3,000 years to get back to fucking Iluin. You understand what I'm saying? So they had bigger things on their mind when they was thinking about humans. I'm not saying none of them didn't give a shit about humans, because they did. There's two agendas. But the ultimate agenda for them was, yo, we got to save our planet and shit, man. We got to save our realm and fix it back and that, while fighting these reptilians. So when the project was nearly finished, like most of the gold had been taken to go and fix up the new heaven in Iluin, Orion and stuff, there was not a lot of Anunnaki left on Earth at that time in terms of warriors and to man their certain stations and machines. And like I said before, that when they up and leave, they'll just leave shit behind. Do you understand? Because most of the shit, we won't be able to figure it out anyway. Do you understand? They leave that shit behind. So a lot of the Anunnaki left once this project was coming near to the end. There was only certain ones who chose to stay, especially the rogue groups and the Nephilims and stuff. But many of the big names, they had gone. Their priority lies in Iluin, with fixing risk and the war that they was having with them reptilians in their neck of the woods and shit. They're not thinking about just humans, like humans is the only shit they got to think about. That's what church wants you to believe. They want to tell you, yo, you're the only thing that God's got to think about. The whole story of creation is wrapped up around you. But it fucking ain't, mate. You're one creation in a myriad of creations. And I'm not saying you're insignificant, but it's definitely not what the church or the mosque or the synagogue is trying to tell you. Do you understand? So yeah, humanity was established by aliens, Asian aliens. That's why NASA have an Asian astronaut hypothesis, which is thoroughly funded, yeah? And various different human societies or civilizations had alien contact, close contact of the fifth, the fourth, the third. They had close contact. They had trade-offs of technology and culture and stuff, because that was their makers. Do you understand what I'm saying? Different aliens created different groups. You had Centaurians coming down in Mexico and mixing with the Olmecs. You have fucking inner-terrestrials like Dunakil and Tiros, the Coneheads, coming up in places like Egypt and Somalia and Peru and Kenya and shit like that. You understand? You have reptilians who came down in Iraq, Sumeria, yeah, India, yeah, China. Different groups. You have tall whites who came down in the Norse regions, the Nordic countries, Sweden and shit, and giving you all that Odin shit and Thor and all of that. Yeah? Different ones. Aldebarans came down in Greece and Rome as Zeus and Ashtar Command and all of that shit. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, at this point, yeah, when you get past 10,500 BC, yeah, and come up to the time of the establishing of Kemet and stuff, yeah, that's not the first time that these beings have come on Earth and had projects where they've seeded Earth with humans. When Egypt was founded, that's the fourth time. That was the beginning of the fourth age of man. Do you understand? 4,000 BC was the beginning of the fourth age, yeah, or the last age of man. It wasn't the first. The Egyptians would tell you about long lost shit that was ancient to them. In their time, that shit was ancient to them. They would tell you about shit that was long before them. Do you understand what I'm saying? You had different ages of man, three previous ages of man, even before our prehistory. That's how far back this story on Earth, Mother Earth goes. Do you understand? And the initial project to seed this planet with life was sanctioned by Anu and the Galactic Federation of with the Council of 24. 23 alien groups signed into this Project Blue Rock, to see if they could live in peace together. Do you understand? But anyway, if we forward to, because we're going to deal with getting to now, the now time, and I want y'all to form some questions as well, yeah? Because I might miss some shit, or you might have some relevant shit to add. So form some questions, and I'll take some questions at the end. 325 AD with sorry, 332 BC with Alexander the Greek. Yeah, that was the beginning of what I call military institutions. Yeah, that were used not only against black people, yeah, and indigenous melanated people, but were used to erase the evidence of extraterrestrial contact and ancient extraterrestrial visitors among these indigenous societies. So what they did was they started to destroy all the evidence that was to suggest that there was anything higher than man, because all of these places that they tried to bring in their spiritual weapon of Serapis and this Jesusism, it won't work because people know too much of the truth. People know about Anu and reptilians, and you understand, it's too much out in the open. So I believe with Alexander the Greek, who was from these reptilian bloodlines, they began with him to start conquering all of the nations that would kind of put up a resistance to this new counterfeit spirituality that they were going to come with. So the reptilians put all their force into Alexander the Greek. And then later on with people like Constantine, who they call the Great, Constantine the fucking Greek as well, because Greeks and Romans are the same. You understand? Because he weren't great. But anyway, these men, these reptilian bloodlines, because that Constantine the Greek is like another Alexander the Great. It's like him born again, and he was in competition with him. And even Caesar, Julius Caesar, you understand what I'm saying? That's an interesting thread. Yeah. But anyway, at this time, they made the decision on that side of the agenda. So, okay, let's now stay out of the limelight, like with the slavery thing. We don't need a physical slavery now. We need a mental slavery. So for this new phase, we need to not be so much all up in humans' face as reptilians and demons and shit. We need to make it more like a myth. Like humans never see us. They'll just get like stories of us and shit like that. I believe they use these institutions, military institutions, yeah, and they went out and they started erasing. They started, because if you check all the places Alexander the Greek went and conquered and stuff, it's all the nations like Persia, which is really Babylon and Sumerian stuff, and India. Yeah, he went to all these places rich with all this ancient cultural knowledge. Kemet, Egypt. He tried to go down to fight the Kendakis and they kicked his ass and he ran off. But he was going to all these places. Went inside the pyramid. They try and say he met Amun Ra and he's the son of Ammon and all that bullshit. You understand? They was trying to get rid of the link between the organic original humans as the seed of the Anunnaki. Yeah, whether they were from the good seed or the bad seed, they wanted to erase that shit and bring out a whole new fucking story. So they wanted all of this alien shit out of sight. So they renamed aliens as angels and demons and gods and devils. Yeah, so the main alien, the main extraterrestrial, Anu, became God, God Almighty. And then the aliens around him became the angels. And so the main alien, the bad one, the main reptilian force, the bad one, Tarnush or Shaka, yeah, or Halal, whatever language name you want to use, Diablos, devil, yeah, he became the devil. And then all of his people, or all of his extraterrestrials, became known as fucking demons or ghouls. Do you understand what I'm saying? They changed the narrative around these military institutions, which is the Greeks, or I should say Macedonians to be more correct, but the Macedonian Greeks with Alexander the Greek, yeah, and then in 332 BC, and then 325 AD. Notice how close them figures are. 332, 325. One's BC, that side of the timeline. One's AD, this side of the timeline. And these institutions were formed to take all evidence of the black gods and aliens out of sight. Yeah, and so the destruction of the evidence, yeah, began, and they began to create religions of empire. Once they had conquered these lands, they now, you're not allowed to have that knowledge what you used to have. Your ancestral knowledge needs to be denied. We'll ridicule it, whatever, so that nobody no longer studies that shit. Everybody's now Christian or Muslim or whatever else. They started making these military institutions which were spiritual weapons. Yeah. And then 1492 AD onwards, when with the discovery of America, Christopher Columbus and them. You got to understand at this point is the first time since the old days that the Mzungu has rekindled his knowledge enough so he can sail the seas and study certain what we would call high sciences and high maths and stuff. Do you understand? So in 1492, because it began in 711 when the Moors crossed over into Europe to stop the spread of the Black Plague, and they started giving certain degrees to these Mzungus, and over the time have going through a period of enlightenment and all of that stuff, all the way up to 1492, and then going up through the period of enlightenment to the 1700s, they learnt a lot of shit that they had forgotten. New discoveries, not least in America and stuff. Giant humans found in mounds and shit. Tales of different types of creatures, chupacabras and fucking reptilians and hollow earth, and a lot of shit was found out. So they, as they did in Roman times, began to cover up the evidence and smash it down again, because they understood knowledge is power. And if people get access to what's really going on, it's going to be harder to control people. Yeah, so from 1492 onwards, new discoveries in America and shit were covered up. They were robbed. Yeah, the role of religion once again became more prominent, because religion had to demonize anything that kind of exposed what was going on the earth, because it's multi-layered. So once you expose one myth, you're going to unravel the whole carpet of what's going on earth. So the role of religion became more and more important, especially in modern times after 1492, when they're coming into contact with all these other cultures and people who's got superior knowledge to them, who's got superior sciences to them, who's got more beautiful cities and bigger cities and better systems of governing people and better ways of living and shit. Simple, built around nature. They had to now find a way to demonize these people, because all of these cultures point back to extraterrestrial visitors that came from the skies. Yeah, if you take out the language of the church, angels and God, we're talking about aliens, extraterrestrials, Star Wars. Do you understand what I'm saying? They had to find a way to get this shit out. So that shit was done through the church in one region of the earth, and it was done through the mosque and the synagogue in other regions of the planet. Yeah, and the role of religion, as I told you, yeah, was to cover up the supernatural origin of humans by making it all into a superstition, and making the truth into a fairy tale by covering it with dogmas and lies. So the story would no longer be the tangible story that you could just look around in your observable reality, look at pyramids. There ain't no human built that shit there. That shit was built by someone who had supreme knowledge to what humans had at that time, and even now it's evident, and certain other anomalies. Do you understand what I'm saying? But governments, once you get to religion, then you need a stronger form of government, because you need to control the narrative of the society that you're trying to rule or mind control. So now you need beliefs, which is really the same rules that you need in society. You need law. So you need God's law, you need man's law. God's got rules, man's got rules. You have to follow God's rules, you have to follow society's rule. You get punished if you break God's rule, you get punished if you break man's rule. So it all goes together. It's a mind control thing, what they need from religion. They brought in society and civilization, which is really just groupthink, yeah, in the form of that they're running in it today. And it's centered around the figure called the Pope and his military gang, which is a religious gang called the Jesuits. And them Jesuit priests are the highest military gang in the world. Forget about blood, forget about Crip, forget about MS-13, forget about all of that shit. The biggest gang in the fucking world is the Pope's gang, which is the Jesuit priest. And all of your major players bow down to that Pope and the Jesuit priest. Even the Queen, even she has to bow to him. Yeah, and she's like the second biggest army in the world, the fucking Queen. So all Western governments are based on this setup, yeah, which is a Jesuit Greco-Roman setup, as to why all of our politics in the modern world is shaped around this Western theme of democracy and this kind of Roman, Greco-Roman Senate shit, yeah, where they really censor out all the truth of what's going on in the world and just give you some legalese or some rhetoric that sounds good. You understand? Because when they got to this state is when they had to create laws for man, because they were Gentiles, meaning they had never really known organic spirituality, Ma'atian laws and shit. Ma'atian, the 42 laws of Ma'at, that is our constitution. So therefore, we didn't need a constitution like the U.S. Constitution and all. That's what Mzungu did, because they wasn't under Ma'at. They had no idea of how to live righteously and live in reciprocity and abundance and shit. So because they were still ruled by their animal nature and living as savages, they had to keep coming up with all these fucking laws like they still do today to govern themselves. Like it wasn't to govern us. That shit was most time was to govern them, because they were animals. They're not used to having a spiritually progressive, consciousness expansive, peaceful, agrarian society. They have war societies that are built on the metal industry, which fashion weapons. And to sell these weapons, you're going to need wars. Just like today, if they want to sell a bomber plane or a tank, they're making all these tanks and bomber planes and nuclear. They need fucking wars. They need Russia to go to war with the Ukraine, or India to go to war with China or Pakistan. They need this shit, man. Them niggas, this is their economy, this is their whole. They be doing this shit for fucking thousands of years. From making swords to fucking tanks. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, even with their Mosaic law, the law of Moses, you can see how it's just centered on our constitution, which is the 42 principles of Ma'at. Do you understand? Which is negative confessions. We confess. And to confess before you even asked, that is because you have a love of your deities. We had a love of our God. Our constitution involved love. Do you understand? So we confess before we even get to judgment. Yo, I have not done none of this stuff. When we repeat that in the judgment hall, it's a righteousness, it's a love thing. You understand what I'm saying? So when they turn the confessions into a commandment, where God has to ask you, yo, did you kill anyone? No, yo, I did not kill. Or you better not kill no one, you know. If you kill anyone, I'm going to throw you in the fire, rude boy. Like they turned the love that you had for your constitution and your spiritually progressive utopian society that had contact with benevolent extraterrestrials, to the point where we didn't even have to worry about reptilians and shit like that, because they couldn't hide from us. We knew who they were, like Tahuti would tell you in the Emerald Tablets. Do you understand? The fear of the unknown gives us this mistrust that we have today when it comes to the UFO subject, because don't nobody know what the fuck is in that UFO, or what these beings want, what's their agenda or nothing, because they took all that knowledge out of circulation. Yeah. So the role of religion was to create these governments that would take all of this shit out of circulation. So today, me and you would be none the wiser. It was a grand scheme where they could dumb us down to the point where we would be so easy to control. And that's where we are today. Yeah. So the government shapes all your mind control narratives, beliefs, rules, society, civilization, and groupthink. And the government endorses the religions and your royal families. So as you see, there's a connection between your government and the Queen or the royal family. There's a connection between your government and the Vatican, the popes and shit. All of them niggas is in contact to keep this thing, the lid on this thing. So this shit's covered up from normal people like me and you in society. Every one of your governments, yeah, and its major players is involved in this shit and has been involved. You understand? Groupthink is what's important. Yeah, groupthink. We spoke about this before also, and how Akhenaten made the first newspapers, but the role of what all of that shit means to have like media, and to have like newspapers and radio surveys and television and daily news and all of that kind of shit as an industry. You understand? But ultimately, it was the erasing of the old knowledge that has led to the foundation for them to be able to keep this myth over us today that we're alone and it's just humans here. Yeah. Another dumbing down. Remember I told you what happened in Genesis 3:22, how Enki made us smart. In Enlil's case, in Genesis 4:26, with his humans, he dumbed them down. So that story that we gave you about Adam and Eve's next son after Cain killed Abel, who was Seth, and Seth had a son whose name was Enosh, and Enosh was the first human born without a barophary gland, meaning he was maimed. His four higher senses was taken from him. And so then all the Enoshites is not the same as the Adamites. The Adamites are humans who were in a godly mind, who were in a higher consciousness. Whereas when you switch to the word Enoshites in the Hebrew, it's now telling you about mortal man. Okay, these man is not like God no more in Genesis 3:22. This man here in 4:26, he now has to call on a God. He now worships. He needs a religion. He needs to pray and shit. Because before this point, Genesis 4:26, nobody in the Bible ever said a prayer. There's no reason to worship or pray to anything until we get to Genesis 4:26 with Enlil's dumbed down humans through Enosh. You understand? And so the erasing of the old knowledge, yeah, happened on many different layers. You understand? But that's when it first started happening in Genesis 4:26. And as I said, it was reinforced at certain times, like with Alexander the fucking Greek and Constantine. Do you understand? Now we're getting more closer to our time, right? You still with me, guys, yeah? So the blueprint of all these religions was hammered out in Babylon with Tammuz and Enlil. Do you understand? And they figured that because humans were dangerous, they need to use fear of the unknown to keep humans in their place. It's a psychology thing. Humans fear the unknown. Once we know something, we don't fear it as much because we know it now. It's like, fucking hell, that's not scary no more. Like, I used to be scared of Freddy Krueger. My brother T used to, yo, come watch Freddy. I used to shit myself. I'm not going to lie to you. I ain't watching no fucking Freddy. You get me? My man's conjured up all types of shit. These times I'm about 5, 6. My brother's trying to make me watch Freddy. Nigga, hell no. I'm not watching dude with the fucking spikes on his fingers and that. You understand? It took me till I was about fucking 16, 17 to watch Freddy Krueger. And then when I watched it, I was so disappointed. I was like, is that it? I thought it would be scarier than that shit. Do you understand what I'm saying? But yeah, so fear of the unknown when you don't know or you've cast, you understand, your mind can play with you. So Enlil and them use that in religion. So you know what, let's keep a lot of the stuff about us Anunnaki out of the discussion. Like we don't want humans to know certain things no more. So certain things were erased from public circulation. I'm talking about way back in a time, in a land before time, Yeah, knowledge was erased. Yeah, and Enlil and them dumbed down humans, and it tells you how he went to the Abzu and stole South Africans and took them to Samaria and dumbed them down and shit. You can read all about that. Even Sitchin and them put that in their books. Yeah. So it's a psychology thing, and the religiosism turned extraterrestrials into angels and demons. And then throughout time, coming more up to modern times, it became more and more superstitious, working off this new reset where they never really show themselves. They're not supposed to. They have to have permission to show themselves, because now they want to be out of sight, just like your slave masters. They don't want to be overseers in your face cracking a whip no more. They want to be out of sight. It's an easier system to run. It works off the psychology of humans and the fear of the unknown. And what they started doing, anyone who they came across who remembered the old knowledge and remembered the old ways, they will fucking, if they can't kill you, they will demonize you and say you're a fucking Satanist, you worship Satan. This is what the church and the mosque did. These people worship Satan, these Africans. We need to civilize them because they're uncivilized. They need to be saved. You can't tell us about no Dogon, no fucking no mosque or nothing. We'll come and conquer your shit and switch you up so you in church or you in the mosque on your knees praying to Allah. Like, they had to use this religion to demonize anything which was indigenous or organic, yeah, melanated, yeah, and they label you as witches and magic and witch doctors and voodoo and give you a negative connotation. You're a pagan, you're a heathen, yeah. I'm showing you guys how religion plays into this thing too. We're gonna get to the whole. We're gonna wrap up this discussion at the end, so it will be. I'm not just straying off. I'm giving you this for a reason, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So you can ask why. Yeah. Why have they kept this shit secret? And that's why, because of the psychosis of humanity. Do you understand? And remember also, now that they've set up all of these falsehoods of the false premise that it's just humans and extraterrestrials are just a figment of imagination and conspiracy theories and stuff, the more longer they carry the lie is the more they have to keep the lie, because certain institutions, especially religious ones, would just fall down overnight if this shit was just to come out uncontrolled. They have to control the way they let this shit out, otherwise it would be counterproductive. All their Christianity and Islam, religion, science, fucking origins, everything falls, crumbles overnight. It's a very delicate subject for them. So that's why they go through so much lengths to keep the lid on this thing, because this is their bread and butter. Remember, they're trading technology with aliens to make themselves lofty. You're world leaders, you understand? They live lofty based on the fact that they can keep you in the dark and keep all the technology and knowledge to themselves. When they tell you the Vatican's got 17 miles worth of records, our records, hidden in underground chambers, 17 fucking miles. That's like me walking from here to fucking Loughborough and back. Worth just fucking books and shit. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's crazy. Another reason why goes back to what we spoke about earlier when we spoke about Enlil and Tammuz and them and the blueprint of religion. At that point, when they were saying, yo, these human creatures are dangerous, yeah, humans was unruly and we was fighting back. It's like when you go to, let's say you're gonna go and ride a horse. You want the horse to work for you or carry some logs and shit. You meet that horse in the wild. He ain't just gonna come and say, okay, I'm carrying these logs for you. You're gonna have to break him in. You're gonna have to teach him how to obey your command. When you jump on his back, you have to fight with him. He might throw your ass off. You might have to fight with him for a week before he accepts, fucking hell, I'm conquered, man. I'm gonna have to listen to this guy. Can't fight him. You have to break him in. You have to go through a whole fucking ritual. Do you understand what I'm saying? It was the same with humans. When they first created us, we weren't just mindless zombies. I shouldn't say created. When they first upgraded the humans that was here and manipulated this Homo sapien, these Homo sapiens was unruly. We had a lot of their nature, you understand, as their children. So we'd be like, fuck that, I'm not mining no Ross Clark gold. That's why in the end they had to use Mzungu people, because black people are stubborn. We're unruly. No, I'm not fucking going down there for 17 hours a day mining no gold for you while you sit up there and fucking women feeding you grapes, rude boy. You get me? So they had to dumb us down. They had to like make a blueprint of religion to shut down our consciousness and lower our consciousness level, our way of thinking and stuff. Do you understand? To make this perfect slave that will go to the mines for them and be so helpless that they would just fucking live in this make-believe prison based on their beliefs and their fear of the Anunnaki and shit like that. We was fighting back and they were scared of our potential, knowing that we was their children. Yeah. So they gave us religions and shit and took themselves out of public sight after living with humans and seeing how chaotic it is for these extraterrestrials and humans to live side by side. They took the decision and said maybe at another time, but right now humans ain't consciously grown enough to, they're not responsible for themselves enough or nothing for us to just live side of them. And there's no point, because then we're kind of mashing up their evolutionary cycle. They have to have their own evolutionary cycle and be left alone to evolve on themselves to see if they can learn the lesson and like mature in consciousness and shit. So I believe the decision was taken around 2024 BC when the Anunnaki left, when the bulk of them left. Yeah. And I believe because of the potential of humans and how dangerous they saw humans, that's why they took themselves out of sight. It's too chaotic and shit. They needed a simpler system. Yeah, based on the psychology of humans and the fear of the unknown, the decision was taken for them to be out of sight. And for any extraterrestrials to interact with humans, you would have to have a specific reason and have to fucking have permission to do that. You can't, it's not a free-for-all no more. A switchover occurred. Yeah, and the shit was reset. Yeah, so now To fast track to the 1940s, which is really the bulk of what I wanted to discuss, but I wanted to give you that background first so you could understand this bit better. The 1940s in modern times, you can call it like the decade of aliens. That's where this term aliens and flying saucers and UFOs and fucking that shit started then for us in modern times. You understand what I'm saying? Before then, the shit was, like I said, all out of sight and all of that stuff. And we've already given you the reason as to why these beings came back into play. Because the only way aliens could interfere with what's going on Earth and humanity is if humanity jeopardizes them and jeopardizes other worlds with its nuclear shit, with all these fucking splicing shit that it's doing, and fucking what does that Dr. Death call it? Gain of function, where they're creating all these fucking synthetic pestilences and stuff. That shit there, like, yo, the contract's nulled. Certain aliens will start getting involved now because you're fucking up their dimension, or you're jeopardizing their dimension or their plane of existence or their realm. And that began around the dropping of the bomb in Hiroshima. Yeah. When did they drop the bomb in Hiroshima? Is it 1945, right? It's 1945. I'm sure it was August the 16th, 1945, Hiroshima. Yeah, and then Nagasaki and fucking Cambodia and that. But when they did that and they nearly cracked the surface of the earth, yeah, that gave certain extraterrestrials a reason to get involved in what's going on earth. Do you understand? And even before the 1940s, certain sorcerers had been performing certain rituals and conjuring up certain demons based on what they had found during their colonialism and their learning from different cultures they came across. Because you remember, the Mzungu, over time, they regress, meaning they could be Rome one day and in 200 years, they're like barbarians. Do you understand? That can happen initially to anyone, even Egyptians and stuff. But I'm saying that's a natural default of Mzungu. Like in their culture, they will go into dark ages. They would just like forget that Greece was real. They will even debate, yo, was Troy real? Was Greece real? We don't know. Yo, let's go and dig. And they have to prove it. Because over time, they forget their shit. They're regressive people. You understand what I'm saying? Whereas you're progressive people. So when we get to like 7-Eleven and the Moors crossing over into Spain and influencing a period of enlightenment all the way up till you get to like the 17th century, now the Mzungu's equipped again, like in the time when he was the Hittite and in the time when he was Hyksos, mixing with Egyptians and stuff. Now he's at his peak again with certain knowledge and understanding of sciences and different cultures and traditions and the God concept and maths and different shit, medicine and alchemy and different kind of shit, astrology, navigation, cartography, all of this types of shit. You understand what I'm saying? Hold on, where am I? Yeah, so he's also privy to certain knowledge where you can contact certain different entities, like learning from people like, you see David Icke go to Credo Mutwa and speak to Credo Mutwa about reptilians, and him and Credo will sit down for a whole 3 hours. That's the nature they have. Once they take all of that knowledge, they start going and messing about with that shit. So certain ones of them started messing about with such stuff we weren't supposed to mess about with again, and give certain visitors a way back into our realm. That was done by Mzungu people once again. Because like I said, this new world order, this spell, it has to be reinforced. Because over time, in cycles, when you get to the end of the cycle, human nature, remember we're the children of God, we start to see through the narrative. We start to see through it so much that it's like, yo, it's that time again, Boy, we're going to need a reset. We're going to have to reset this shit. Yo, Judaism's not working no more. Okay, what's next? Christianity. Okay, Christianity. Yeah? Right, Christianity. And then Christianity starts splitting up. People start seeing through it. Hold on, I'm a fucking Seventh-day Adventist. Hold on, I'm a Catholic. Hold on, I'm Church of England. Hold on, I'm Protestant. Hold on, I'm a Jehovah Ross Clark Witness. I don't give a shit about none of you Christians. And the same thing happened with, okay, yo, this shit see-through. Yo, we need a new shit. Islam. Yeah, and then Islam starts fracturing. People start see through it. I'm a fucking Sunni nigga. Yeah, yo, Ali is the right fucking heir to. Um, Abu Bakr is the right heir to Muhammad. Then the Shia would say, no, it wasn't. It was Ali. I don't like you no more. Yo, we're gonna have a fight. Then he says he's Wahhabi. He's Ikhwani. He's Sufi. You understand what I'm saying? He's fucking Moorish science. He's Nation of Islam. It starts fracturing again. And so now we've come to the point, yo, we need another reset. We had this modern day industrial revolution reset where people moved out of living with nature and started moving into these cities. Now most of us live in the city. Yeah, it's more common for us to live in a city type. It wasn't always like that. Do you understand? Most of us now don't even know how to plant food or to associate ourselves with animals or nothing no more. We're not human. We're something else. Now we've been living in this reset setup here since the 1800s. Yeah, but yeah, since 711 AD, when the Moors crossed over, to 1940 AD, yeah, and all the time that Tartaria was left to stand and they could just garnish certain information and stuff, you understand? They started setting up a new control grid, yeah, and the hub of this control grid is these words what I'm going to give you now, yeah? Institutions, corporations, agencies, unions, all of them shits there, groups, the Dutch East India group, all these different fucking groups, yeah, that come with a certain agenda that's not told to the public, that we're given some other false sub story, but behind there's a different agenda to centralize power and centralize control in different areas of our human existence. Do you understand? Whether it's to do with commerce, economy, whether it's to do with trade, industries, you understand, work, religion, it's crazy. Yeah. So you get things like FBI, CIA, IRS, MI6, MI5, FDA, CDC, WHO, all these three-letter bastards, these 666s, yeah, these institutions, or what I call NGOs, they're not elected by us. Most of the people that work at these organizations, we have no idea what their name is or who they are or what they like or what they don't like or how they are in their, but they're in the highest position that govern the control of our existence. But we don't know nothing about them. I can't tell you one person who works at the FBI. I can't tell you one person who works anywhere else in the FDA or MI5 or I don't know none of these niggas. Do you understand what I'm saying? And neither do you. Yeah, but all these organizations were formed in the 1940s. You see, after the Roswell thing in 1943, yeah, when they did the Philadelphia experiment and they started playing with the timeline and fucking with time travel and shit, and they messed up quite a few aliens and shit, that's when the UFO thing started in the form of flying saucers were being seen everywhere. So the word had to be made up, flying saucers. When people seen these things, they didn't know what to call it. So they made up this word, yo, flying saucers. Before UFOs, it was the flying saucer phenomenon. It looked like a fucking saucer. And the shit was flying like a hat. Like someone threw that shit through the air. There's no sound or nothing. That shit started in the 1943 with Roswell. That's not to say there was no other alien sightings. There was. But I'm talking about the wave, and it's never stopped. In fact, it's increased since 2020. It was on a gradual increase all the time. And then since 2020, I'm sure all of you agree, it's gone mad. It's gone haywire. You understand what I'm saying? But all of them organizations and corporations were founded by these same hybrid bloodlines that had the evil agenda over humanity. And they keep choosing their time throughout all times to come in with certain institutions of control. And they last in power until the people see through it and they have to reshuffle the deck of cards. And they reshuffle and reset. And people think we've had a American Revolution or a liberation, but we've not. The same characters get back in, they reshuffle the rules, the control grid, change the faces and shit, and they carry on in a new system. And now we've come to the time where this is the last time. You understand? They're not going to be able to reset this shit. As they keep telling you, reset, reset, reset. They can't do it. It's not happening. Yeah. So all of these organizations, institutions together, yeah, with what we call today the mass media machine, which is your news channels, your mainstream newspapers, radio stations, Hollywood, you understand? Also, what's a part of the media machine is the printing press, what was developed in the 1700s. Corporations, that's another one, like Disney, yeah. All your education institutions, remember what I said, institutions, corporations, agencies, unions, anything of that nature. You understand? So Disney is a corporation. You understand what I'm saying? Education is an institution, yeah? And so add that up with all the lies of history, yeah? And the emphasis that is put on slavery, because slavery is really reminding us, because we're the biggest threat to them, black people, melanated people. So they need to remind us that we've always been low and beaten and under authority, and we have to respect authority. Yeah, we should be happy right now because it was worse for us. That's how they try and have it. It was worse for us. We were slaves. We were beaten. Yeah, we were kept down. Yeah, we were conquered, scattered. Yeah, so white people are our authority. That's the kind of implication that it gives if they keep us stuck in slavery. Yeah, and then the law of Leviathan, the law that they use on us, the law of man, the laws that they came up with to first govern themselves. You understand? School's a part of the education system. But put all of them things together, yeah, with what I told you about these institutions and how they all work in a network to control your experience in this reality, yeah, together with the economy and the monetary system, yeah, because Hitler said it best. If anybody's ever read Mein Kampf, which is Hitler's book, somebody wrote for him, but it's Hitler's book. Yeah, Mein Kampf, it means my struggle. In there, Hitler talks about, yo, the wickedest weapon in war is a lie. Forget nuclear bombs and all of that shit. The best weapon that you can use in a war is a lie. And he said, the bigger the lie, the better. And if you mix it with a bit of falsehood and make it a real massive lie and keep repeating it over and over and over and over and over, eventually people will take it as the truth and it will stick because it's got that little bit of truth mixed in there. Do you understand? That was real talk. And you can relate that to John 8:44, which talks about, yo, your father was a liar and you're a fucking liar. Yeah, he was talking about these same hybrid bloodlines, Muzungus and shit, man. You understand? And also, when we're talking about this mass media machine, yeah, as we've done before, reread Revelation 13:15, yeah? So modern education is an indoctrination that involves this whole mass media machine and all the corporations, the moving parts of it, yeah? And what it does in society is it doesn't educate us about science or the true history of humanity and the origins of humanity and human civilization or human interaction. Yeah, it doesn't breed employers, yeah, or problem solvers where we can come up with the solutions to our own problems in our own communities. It breeds employees, yeah. So it doesn't breed intelligent people, it breeds educated people. There's a big difference because the educated people ain't troubleshooting none of the problems that are in our societies or in our communities. All they can do is support whatever is going on, whatever industry or institution they pick. They're just now adding on to what's the madness of this, what's going on. Nobody's trying to like be like, hold on, we need to break out of all this because all of this is bullshit. You understand? And it's because of how this whole thing is set up and how nobody ever really sees through it and calls it out and questions it. Yeah. And also what they use against us is time. They create this illusion around time based on your work week, based on what I told you about. There's only 12 hours in a day. There's not 24 hours in a day. There's 12 hours a day and 12 hours a night. Yeah. Most of us, our work is in the day. Yeah. So they convince you to give up 8. Some people are doing 12-hour shifts, what I call graveyard shift. Yeah, that's what we call graveyard shift in the UK. 12 hours, yeah. I've did that shit. That shit's slavery. Yeah. But we're giving up all this time out of our fucking day to keep participating in our own imprisonment, in our own fucking downfall. Do you understand? Because they've created this illusion around time. Once you give up 8 hours or 12 hours out of your day for your work, oh, I have to work, I have to survive. Yeah. You ain't got no time for nothing else. Yeah. So you're living just to work. You ain't even working to live. You're living, literally living just to work. And I'm not knocking no one. I'm just here to make you question your shit. If that's right for you, then yo, more power to you. Do you understand? But I'm just saying, for me, that's not right. Do you understand? I've been in them jobs, them situations where I've got no time to go and see family, children, friends. I ain't even got no time for myself. Do you understand? That's how they make us be with this work shit. You ain't even got time for yourself. To give yourself an hour and say, let me take myself to Ross Clark Nando's, sit down and yam a good food, just because I love me. And I don't care who, work, or who else, yeah, I'm giving this 1 hour to me, and this is what I want to do, so I'm going to fucking do it, because I've got a right to do it. But all of us are in this rat race, man, this hamster wheel shit, with no time for ourselves, no time for our loved ones, no time for research, or to really question what's going on, no time for a revolution. All your time is spent chasing this illusionary money, this fucked up counterfeit monetary system where it's just sucked out of you, yeah, and the cycle's just repeated like the hamster on the wheel until you're old and fucking grey and you retire with a shit pension and you can't even enjoy the shit pension because you're an old bastard. You know, you understand? Like, what's it gonna take for us? Yo, let me stay on topic. So Hitler said, if you make the lie bigger, it's better. Do you understand? And that goes with John 8:44. Now, I want to remind you of what we wrote in Coronation, the Scamdemic, our second book, about the word pharmakia in Latin and Greek, and how it means witchcraft, sorcery, medicine, idolatry, illusions, and a few more things. But let's base on them 5 things, yeah? So we're dealing with, when it talks about the witchcraft and the sorcery, when you're dealing with the media and the Revelation 13:15, and how they had power to give they had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that it could move, walk, and talk. So this media now, this spell that they cast over us with Hollywood and the movies and shit, a lot of people get desensitized to certain words. Like if you say aliens, or if you say black history, or if you say gangster movie, or if you say Illuminati, yeah, a lot of people are desensitized to it. You understand? Because they grew up on that Star Wars or that fucking Star Trek. So it works in a lot of different ways. For some people, it opens their eyes to shit. For some people, it desensitizes them and makes them think, yo, that's just some movie shit. You're just a clown that watch too much movies and shit. So it works both ways. Do you understand what I'm saying? But pharmakia, in terms of witchcraft and sorcery, comes with that screen magic. Like I told you, it's sorcery, and that's why they call it a casting when they do in a movie. All the actors together is called a casting, yeah, and it's an act, yeah. They're performing something, they're doing something. It's a ritual, it's witchcraft. That's why it's called broadcast, yeah, or a casting, yeah. And also, when you say pharmakia, and we said to you it involves medicine and mixing together concoction of all types of harmful chemicals and shit like that, yeah, that's where today's medical industry comes in with all of its allopathic medicine, telling you they don't even want to tell you what's in this stuff, because if they really told you what was in that stuff, there's no way you would roll up your sleeve and make someone dig you with that shit there. Even if they told you one of the stuff that was in there, none of them are going to tell you that shit till they're all dead. We might not find out that shit officially if it was left to them for the next 100 years. Yeah, so all the people that were involved are long and dead. This is how these people, these demons roll. You understand what I'm saying? All of that together, yeah, the witchcraft, sorcery, pharmakia, all these organizations that they found, that they made after Roswell in 1940 to control the shit. Because remember, they did experiments where they said, you know what, announce on the news that that shit we found, the alien. yeah, just to see the public reaction. Who did it as well? Orson Welles in what's it called, War of the Worlds, back in, I can't tell you, 19 whatever. They told him, because a lot of these authors are in on it too. Don't get it twisted. Not because I'm an author. I'm an independent author. Yeah, but yo, I'll say a lot of these authors are in on this shit too. Especially them big names like people like Orson Welles, who had a stake, who had a close contact with certain government officials and shit because of his reach. Yeah, and they told him put out water. I think it was a radio broadcast where he announced that aliens had fucking invaded Earth, and yo, the world went mad. I wish I could travel back to that time just to see it for myself. Yeah, the world went mad, and then they came back on air and said, "Oh, it was just a joke. It was just a joke, that insensitive joke that went wrong." But apparently, the fucking society went mad because this shit was taken as real, and they did it as real, yo, and they did that a couple times more, like with I don't think it was Roswell, but it was another time where they presented one of the recovered alien bodies at a public convention. That was a real alien, and they used it and gauged the public. And when they seen the reaction, they came with a dummy and said, "Oh, it was just a dummy. Don't worry. Yeah, it was just a dummy." You know, they do this shit. They test to see if humanity is ready to hear this fucking truth or not. And every time they've did it, based on the reaction of the public, they've held back. It's only recently now, since we've got past 2020 and Trump with all of his alien shit and Obama and all of them, yeah, and the military disclosures and shit, which has changed up the scene. Like they really getting ready to tell us now, because everything done in the dark must come into the light. But all of them things have worked together since the 1940s in our modern times, yeah, based on the actions of certain different men like Constantine and fucking Alexander the Greek and the church, the Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, yeah, the royal families, yeah, going way back, as I've shown you, going back to the start with these Anunnakis. We're now in fucking 1940 coming up to now, 2020, speaking about 2020 and shit. So I'm going to wrap it up speaking about these. And then if y'all have got any questions, I'll answer a few of them. Another way they've controlled it as well, on top of all the things I've gave you there, is with character assassinations and ridiculing any person that came and spoke out about the alien agenda or extraterrestrial technology and shit like that. So they assassinate your character if they can't damn right kill you. You understand? Or blacklist you. Like if you're somebody that's like an academic, you're an Egyptologist, and you're in a high field, recognized high field, they'll fuck your career up. So now you're scared to mention anything. If you're an Egyptologist and you see some bang on evidence that, yo, this is some alien shit, you're not going to speak that shit because you ain't getting funding no more if you start speaking about that alien shit in that kind of way. That Egyptian Antiquities Department, another one of them corporations, organizations, them niggas ain't giving you no money to dig nowhere else if you start talking about aliens and shit now. Do you understand? Or if you're a scientist, or if you're a geologist, or if you're a fucking cosmologist, you can't talk about certain things because they'll blacklist you and they'll ridicule you. You'll become like public fucking ridicule. Yeah? Your career's finished. You're dead in the water. You understand? So they character assassinate people, they ridicule people, they blacklisted people. They've damn right murdered people. Rest in peace, like William Cooper. What's his name? Snyder. What's his name? Something Snyder. Phil Snyder. How much countless people they've killed. Dr. Delbert Blair, they killed him and his wife. Do you understand? To keep this shit. They killed Kennedy over this shit. And Marilyn Monroe and stuff. That shit's about alien shit. Don't get it twisted. Kennedy was about to blow the lid off that alien shit. Because he's one of them aliens that want the agenda out. He's an Aldebaran. Do you understand what I'm saying? So anyone from the archaeological community, geological, Egyptology, science, any religious person like a religious pastor or a priest, or imagine if a Muslim imam started talking about some alien shit, they would fuck his shit up. Do you understand? They used, now it's come to the point where all of that stuff what I've given you about all these organizations and the mass media and all of this shit to keep this spell going, is now starting to fall apart. So they're already doing the most. They're already doing everything. You're not supposed to know this shit here, Jadefre, for you to be telling the people. They've did everything for us not to be having this fucking discussion. So now they're onto a desperation tactics thing, like we've told you about Operation Looking Glass and how they've seen their end. This is why they've come up with the chemtrails to spray us, yeah? Spray us, yeah? HARP, yeah? Weather manipulation, CERN, yeah? Let's take down the barrier between quantum realm and this fucking realm, yeah? And they no longer had to burn books, yeah, up to this point, yeah, up to 2020. They know that they got so relaxed with this grid that they had over us, yeah, that they long stopped burning books, yeah, because books ain't even the main tool where people get information from no more. The main tool you get information from is smart devices. Do you understand? They don't need to burn books. They've already convinced you not to read books no more. Books is not important. Most humans right now, I'd put money that they don't even fucking read. And I'd put money down that a lot of humans, even some of you who might be watching, haven't really read. And when I say read, I don't mean 1-2 pages. I mean really get into the book, where the book takes you somewhere and you finish it and think, wow, that was wicked. Do you understand what I'm saying? I bet a lot of us ain't done that shit for years. We just watch Netflix or go on our phone and scroll, go on Facebook, post a selfie. Rare. There's so much reasons they give us to convince us not to read. They don't need to burn books no more. Books are just sitting on shelves, no one reading them. Sitting in shops, sitting in my houses. No one wants to buy books no more. People want fucking social content. People want lives. People want movies, you know what I mean? Films. This is how people are when reading is a gift. We're the only being on this planet, this realm, as an earthling that can read. Lions, tigers, bears, birds, nothing else can read. We can read, but we don't want to read. As slaves, we weren't even allowed to read. You understand? Reading was seen as your empowerment. Back in slavery, if you could learn to read and read, you'd have more of a chance of escaping this slave shit and buying yourself the fuck out of this slavery. But now, you can't even convince most of these fools to read a book. Yeah? Book is no longer the main tool of information. Smart devices, technology, fact checkers. Do you understand? This is what I mean by the spell, the hypnotism. All of this, what we've spoken about, yeah, is what's keeping this spell of racial and spiritual blindness on our people. Yeah? All they have to do every now and then is reinforce it. They just reinforce it every now and then, reshuffle the fucking pack. Yeah, they keep whatever worked from the old system. Yeah, whatever wasn't working from the old system, they get rid of that. Yeah, and we're now at a time where they can no longer keep the lid on this thing because of the expansion of consciousness. You understand? So I can't tell you what's going to happen, but that's how they've kept the fucking lid on this thing for so fucking long. There's so many layers and moving parts and institutions that were formed specifically around that Roswell incident when it happened and around the Philadelphia experiment, that up to this day, there's never been no full disclosure of Roswell or the Philadelphia experiment or any other event that happened with the US industrial military complex. And they use that word because in order to keep this scam over us for so long, this system had to be so complex. They're calling it a complex because it involves military, media, religion, politics, the economy, like these corporations and shit, sports, all the industries are working together in what's called industrial military. The military complex, scientists, the medical industry, the what you call it, archaeologists and paleontologists and fucking Egyptology, all of the fucking shit, man. Historians, they all work together, yeah, to keep us in this 10% brain, in this little fucking flicker, this little speck of reality, yeah. And that's how they've did it for so long. And now that everything has happened as to where consciousness is expanding, these old systems are now cracking at the seams. People are waking up by the day, and it's scaring them because they know that all that we need is 144,000 that are no longer intimidated by the fear of the unknown. It's all right, no. Go with what you know and just stick with that and trust in the process. You understand? But they're trying to take us down the other route. So with that being said, let me see if I've got anything else on these notes because I'm right near the end. Yeah, the spell was cast over and over. Yeah, and the last big time they did it before this 2020, because this 2020 is an attempt. Over the last 2 years, they are attempting to reset this shit once again. Yeah, the last time they did this in any full reset shit was the 1800s when they created the Industrial Revolution and they came up with all this insectoid archon technology polluting up the fucking climate and the planet. You understand? And the Industrial Revolution changed us from rural living and homeopathic people into city dwellers that's dealing with this fucking with a blind devotion to allopathic medicine. Like we just go to the doctors and trust that this shit is medicine. Like half of us don't know shit about medicine or don't even know what allopathic medicine is. I've said before, allopathic medicine is the belief, the medicine that's based on our body, our immune system is not strong enough to protect itself. So therefore it needs synthetic, man-made, unnatural shit injected into you every now and then to give you a chance of surviving on Earth, when that's total bullshit. But we just go with it anyway. We take aspirins, we take paracetamols, we take painkillers. If we've got some problem, we go to the doctors. Whatever the doctor says, we just take that shit. Have these pills, have this injection, have this jab, have chemotherapy, have this. Nobody even knows what they're doing. But we're just all blindly following this fucking narrative. You understand? Like everybody's your friend or something. But it don't work like that. Do you understand? And that shit started in the 1800s. It gained pace in the 1900s when John Rockefeller started putting all his money into this shit to revamp the whole system and demonize homeopathy. And all of this has been a form of control. It's not started with no this lockdown in 2020. Do you understand? With the Rona. This shit's been going on over and over and over and over until the point now they can tell you you're an anti-vaxxer. Well, I would say, yeah, I am. And then cite you the information what I just gave you. Yo, no vaccine, yeah, is the whole concept of it is a wrong concept. I'm against allopathic medicine and everything that comes with it. So if people are not smart enough to question that and see how all of that shit works together, from religion to government to mass media to all these organizations, you understand? Going back through the timeline, what I've just took you through, yeah, is how they've managed to keep us in this fucking one-dimensional way of thinking, where as to where it's only now that a lot of humans are finding out that we're not alone in 2022. You understand? 2022 AD. So I just wanted to say, it's game over now. Disclosure must happen. Why? Because all things done in darkness must come to the light. And they was only given 6,000 years. And they thought that 6,000 years was going to be an eternity. They thought within 6,000 years, they'd have us all fucked. We're gone. There's no one to save. They've took over the whole planet. Now look, they're stuck. They haven't did it. We're still here. We're still fighting them. We're more aware of who they are, what they are, where they are than fucking ever. Yeah. And they're further away from their goals. Even if it seems in the illusory sense, when you look at what's happening, it seems like, yo, they're really close to this shit. But yo, they supposed to done had this shit wrapped up long time ago. They ain't gonna have it fucking wrapped up. You understand? And that's what's shitting them, because they've seen how this all ends for them and how it doesn't end in their favor. However it ends, it doesn't end in their favor. They know what I don't know. I haven't looked through no fucking time lensing technology. Yeah, I connect with the Akasha records when and where I can, but I don't know everything. But I'm happy with what I don't know. But they know that they've seen their ending and it's not in their favor, and that's good enough for me. Do you know what I'm saying? That's good enough for me. Yeah. Because I'll tell you this, the more you know, the more lonely you become. And the more fucking obscure you become to other people and they become to you. You understand? So right now, it's the first time in my life where I can honestly say, I'm happy with what I don't know. You understand? I'm grateful for what I know, But I'm happy for what I don't know. I've actually come to that point. It's crazy. Give me 1 minute and then I'll scroll through some of these comments to see if y'all got any questions. If y'all ain't got no questions, I'ma jump out. Yeah, but if y'all got questions, I'll sit with y'all for a while and answer some questions. We got the charger, so we ain't got to worry about the thing deading out on us, which is good. So, guys, get your thinking caps on, man, and question me, man, because the teacher and the teacher and the teaching together, the teacher and the taught together create the teaching, innit? So we're all learning, and this interaction is a trade-off. So whatever question that you might have as to how they've kept this thing under wraps for so long, or you want to add to the conversation, or you think I missed something, you know, add it in, man. Add it in. Because I tell you what, I feel like there's an event coming, and I feel like that's the only card they can now use. They've used out all their options and all their cards. The onlyest thing that can get our mass attention again in that type of way now is going to be the alien thing, the alien card. So I really feel like, based on what I know and what I don't know, I feel like my educated guess would be like, yo, fake alien invasions coming real soon. And when I say fake, I mean controlled. It might be with real aliens. It might be with some fake ass CIG shit. But it's going to be, whether it's real aliens or CIG, the whole shit will be controlled. Yeah, and it will be used to reset this new narrative and bring in even more fucking crazy mandates or acts, regulations, whatever you want to call them. You get me? So yeah, I felt like talking like this about this today. I'm coming to the point where I'm having to think more about topics. So what I want you to do, if you who are watching, who's in the forum, y'all give me topics that you want me to speak about. Yeah, and if I don't know enough about the topic, I'll go and research it and just share what I've researched with y'all. Yeah, y'all start giving me fucking topics, man. But please keep away from Jesus, man. I want to speak about Jesus and his family. Let's see if we got anything here, man. Oh shit, quite a bit here. Yo, I think that's a Russian person there. That's I don't know what them letters mean in Russian, yeah. But yo, namastu. Yo, namastu, sis. Namastu, Zach. Zach was watching, yeah. Celestial Samurai. Greetings, Empress Lotus. Denise Mitchell. They were all made to infiltrate and cover up. Yeah, you know what I need to start doing? Addressing questions when they pop up. But it's so hard, man, when you're Sagittarius and I'm just on a tangent. I'm trying to get through all these notes and that. But yeah, let me see what you said again. They're all made to infiltrate and cover up. Denise Mitchell says, yeah, they are. All of them organizations, their main function is to mislead the people. News is not here to inform us. Doctors is not here to heal us and make us live longer, more healthy lives. There's no money in that. Yeah, fucking what? Education isn't here to make us wise or to make us intellectual. The word education, that's a word, that's its own fucking word. It's got nothing to do with real intelligence or intellect. So you're right, all of them institutions was created to give us the illusion. They're not here to help us. They're here to fucking infiltrate and keep us in this dead ass type living that we've all normalized ourselves into with this 5 cents prison, we'll call it. Kung Lao. Kung Lao from Mortal Kombat. You on some Mortal Kombat shit, man, Celestial Samurai. Roswell Area 51 has been mostly about re-engineering our DNA. Do you know what it is? It's like Area 51 hasn't got one function. Area 51 is like, you know, when our government made pacts, when world governments make pacts with aliens, when America made its pact with certain greys and reptilians, in that contract that they signed, because these shits is contract, They have to be given a base where the aliens can work from. Because remember, these greys, they want to do human experimentation to save themselves because they're a dying breed. So they will give American government technology and shit, and America will give them permission to abduct certain humans, conduct experiments, study the reproductive system of humans and shit, use some of them for their hybrid programs, as long as they report all the names and shit. That building that they were given was Area 51. That's a joint venture between extraterrestrials and humans, the American government, so that the aliens can conduct their hybrid program. And at the same time, the government can garner technology that they can use and monetize in our society and have us working and paying an arm a leg just to fucking survive. Do you understand what I'm saying? So Area 51 has got 7 levels. One of the levels of Area 51 is what you said about re-engineering our DNA to do with the greys and shit. Other levels are about reverse engineering alien fucking crafts that they've retrieved. Other levels are about genetic splicing, creating fucking human slash pig or human slash tree and all types of monstrosities. Other floors are for other different things, cloning and all types of different shit. You see what I'm saying? So when you're dealing with these demons, it's never a one-dimensional thing. Their agenda is like, it's got fucking subcategories and shit. But generally speaking, Denise Mitchell, you're right. It's about mapping the human genome, which was achieved only recently, and creating DNA, re-engineering DNA, altering it, manipulating it. Yeah, dark magic, definitely. We're dealing with sorcerers and shit. Like I said, Earth is dealing with magic. It's magic to be alive. Some magicians are evil. Some magicians are good. If you want to talk in Star Wars language, some are Sith and some are Jedi, but we're all using the same force. See what I'm saying? But dark magic, as a word, I don't even like that because it's like when they use the word black magic. I know what you mean, shadow magic and dark magic and that, but that shit there is white magic. You understand? Dark magic is to protect us. But it's called the effects in Sumerian magic. See, I never knew that. It's the same as the Mandela effect. See, respect for sharing that. Disney has been, what, YouTube? Why don't you leave the thing on the screen? Disney has been low-key teaching it to kids. Yeah, I've been saying so for years, Denise, with the Harry Potter and stuff. That was like the peak of it. I was appalled by Harry Potter. At first, I wouldn't even watch that shit when my youths was telling me about Harry Potter. I'm trying to tell, you know how I am. Imagine me trying to tell my youths, Harry Potter. Harry Potter on some wizard shit. Yo, they've been programming the kids with this sorcery for a very long time. You're definitely right there. Anyone else got any questions? They know if we had time, then we will completely get our power back online. Yo, you should be a rapper. They know if we had time, we should get our power completely back online. That shit there, yo. Yeah, bars. But listen, yeah, because remember when we speak about ancient civilizations, it was when they talk about hunter-gatherers and how these Muzungu cave people with their cave culture, they never had agrarian societies like ours, which is based on agriculture and growing our own food and stuff. Simply because the region that they was in, which is the Caucasus Mountain, don't have no arable land, don't have no fertile land and shit. There's nothing there but caves. Do you understand? So they are a nomadic group. They became a nomadic group of people because of that. They didn't have nothing but them caves. But as soon as they come down into our societies, our agrarian societies, if you notice, because we were living by agriculture, we created time. Meaning, when I say created time, I'm not talking about the false illusion. I'm talking about we can sit and just enjoy because we've got abundant food, abundant heat, there's abundance, there's enough of everything, which gives people the time now to now ponder on the deeper mysteries in life. It gives you more time to think about stuff. Just like now in the nowadays, soon as the lockdown came, a lot of us had time to think about and address things that we hadn't had the time to do for a long time. A lot of people found themselves in the lockdown because they was able to give themselves time that they were never able to give themselves before because of the rat race. So they reconnected with different parts of themselves and shit. So the Mzungu, because he had to be a hunter-gatherer and following different animals and nomadic, he never had the time to ponder on the deeper mysteries of creation and divinity and none of that stuff until he came into contact with our cultures and lived on the fringes or assimilated into our cultures to learn all the fruits of civilization and shit. You understand? So time is definitely a very important factor. I'm glad that you mentioned that. And that's why, like you say, they know if we had time right now, then we will completely get back to our power. Because yes, we'll figure this shit out. And that's why you must make the time. You must create time for yourself. You must create time so that you can decipher this shit for yourself. Because to become a master at anything, you have to give time to it. You understand? You have to give time to it. You have to commit yourself to it. You have to get that discipline of commitment. So once you give, they say 60 hours to anything, you likely to become a master. You likely to keep doing it until you become a master. But you have to put in that 60 hours. A lot of us, we don't even want to put an hour into reading. If we were to say, if we were to sum up all the reading we've did in the last 2 years, some of us might struggle to make an hour. Do you understand? Yeah, time, man. Time is a mental construct. That's why you have to create your own time and become the master of your own time or Dharma wheel. Hold on, what the frig are you doing? The Bible is low key a grimoire. Tell me what a grimoire is. I'm ignorant to that word. Sorry. What's a grimoire? It's got everything that's needed to cast incantations and evocations. So you mean like a book of spell? Spellbind. Religion in itself means to bind, yeah, which comes from the Latin word religiare, which means to bind your mind, yeah. So yeah, even though I'm ignorant to the word grimoire, I kind of get what you're saying. Yo, what go on, Melinda, sister? What go on, soul fam? Use this Jada TV, peace God, under little sis account, but appreciate the history. Yo, peace, Jay. And catching their tricknology. Yeah, this is how they've kept the fucking trick on us, man. And that's how we've played into it, because we've all been convinced through all these layers that they've did. It's not one aspect as to how they've kept this over us. A lot of us, when we think about things, we only think in one dimension. We don't understand sometimes these things have got so many layers. Once you uncover one layer, you uncover another layer, and then another layer, and then you see how all these things link, like politics, religion, education, entertainment, sports. It's all fucking linked into one control grid. You see what I'm saying? But I felt like I had to take you guys back to the start of the timeline in the Anunnaki story to give you a full inner and understanding of how the same kind of principles are being used right now. Do you see? Now we have all the time, they don't have any. Yeah, they're out of time. That's the reason they made time to keep up with the return that they hid from our people. They created time, yeah, to hinder us, because their time, the Mzungu time frame, doesn't work for you, because you're the first men or the first women. That means your time starts with a first. Your time, I've said before, starts with 1,000 moments in every first. And then you have 100 firsts in every second. Then you have 100 seconds in every minute. Then you have 100 minutes in every hour. 100, not 60. Yeah? If you want to turn a centimeter into if you want to get like a centimeter, yeah, that's based on 100, not 60. Do you understand? If you want to get like a pound, you have to give me 100 pence, not 60 pence. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you want to give me a liter, it's based on 100, not 60. So how come time's based on 6? Yeah, and based on a second. Yeah, how can you have a second without having a first? You understand? So in our time zone, we have 10 days a week, yeah, and it rounds out to 360 days in a year. And that time is based around the sun, based on how the sun connects with us as melanated people. So when he made his time, the Mzungu, he took all of that knowledge of how you're connected with the sun and the hours when the sun's at its peak and when it's up and when it's not up. You understand? And he created his time zone, yeah, based on his own calendar, which is the Julian calendar. Nowadays they've rehashed it into the Gregorian calendar 400 years ago. But first it was the Julian calendar, based on Julius Caesar and the Greeks and shit. And they still use that calendar when they go into BC. They don't use the calendar today, Gregorian. When they speak in BC, they use their beloved Julian calendar and give us the dates based on that with their BCE and all of that bullshit. Yeah, but we'll discuss that on another time, the different time frames and timelines and calendars and shit. That's a good topic. But yeah, we was based on the first. You can't have a second without a first. So now, in this time frame, everybody mocks you. They laugh at you, the black man and woman. They say, bastard, you on that black man time, innit? You always late. Fucking 1 o'clock for black people means like 3 o'clock. You understand? Or 3 o'clock must mean like 5 o'clock. That's how they'll laugh at you. Because you can't work on this secondary time, this counterfeit time. You're the master of time. In your time, you've got a 25th hour for those of us who are masters. We've got a 25th hour when that clock hits 0000 and you go into that 25th hour. Do you understand? You can speak with the 24 elders because each elder governs an hour. Yeah, 12 hours a light, the agreeable 12. 12 hours a day, the disagreeable 12. But they took this shit from us and give us this Gregorian shit that suits them when the sun's down and the sun's at its weakest. And reversing the, not reversing, but using the solstices and the equinoxes and the little pinpoints for their own fucking agenda to spread fear and intimidation and bloodshed and fucking the spell. You understand what I'm saying? All of that shit ties together, man. So they made time, that's the J. They made time, J the TV. They made time for like, just like what I said, there's various reasons as to why they do shit. It's never for one thing. It's to serve like a multiple agenda. Like when you go gym, you can train just your arm or you can train upper body and hit various different muscles with this one training session. So they're on a you understand, like that. They're not looking to train one piece, or they're not, it's not for one reason. Yeah, it's for multiple reasons that's all tied towards a bigger agenda, which is control of Earth, its people, and its fucking resources. That's how these archons work. So everything that they do is geared towards that eventuality. Yo, Jedefre, been asking for the link for the Telegram for a while. Can you post it, please, so I can join? Yeah, I'll post it. I've posted it on a couple of these lives. Couple of the lives. I thought I posted it on the, if not the last one, the one before, but I'll post it on here when I load it up, yeah? Talisha. Yes, Talisha, you've been hitting points so good it leaves no room for questions. What can I say? If there's no room for questions, if nobody's got no questions, I must have done a pretty good job then. But basically, respect for that comment, Talisha. That's how they do it, man. And I should say, that's how they still doing it. They still keeping this shit over us. Like, because a lot of people don't have, they no longer have, look at all the shit that we've just spoke about. All the fucking layers that they've put on us for us not to know certain things. Whether it's about black history, whether it's about aliens, whether it's about the true nature of reality. Look how much fucking shit they've hit us with, man. Chemtrails, spraying us with chemicals to make us into some zombies and shit. It's crazy. When I say zombies in that form with the chemtrails, I mean like just dumb. Just like the fluoride in the water. Just killing out brain cells. Yo, peace to the God Wavy, man. Like a shout out Najee Azim. And okay, appreciate it. Yeah, but basically that's how they do this, man. It's a whole giant ritual. It's a whole giant spell. And it's not like they just put something in place and there's nothing they have to do. It's just, they have to work, they have to keep this shit up every day. They can't let up for 1 minute or else the whole thing falls down. Yeah, the mountain of lies fall down, man. One truth. That's all you need. Take one truth and put it on any mountain of lies that these people have made up, and see how fast that mountain falls down, whether it's religious, politics, historical, you name it. All you need to do is find one of the truths that they try so hard to hide, and rest it on top of the structure, and you see the whole structure come tumbling down. And how they do it as well, the last thing I'll mention, yeah, since there's no more questions, or there don't seem to be, I'll say this, yeah. We said it in the last slide. A lot of aliens that look like human beings come to Earth with permission as visitors. Do you understand? Some of them come with an evil agenda. Some of them come with a good agenda. Some of them come just as tourists, just to see. Yeah, and because this form, after melanated beings were created, humans, this form, as I said, the reptilians interfered with the project, and they discovered how to run their own projects and grow their own humans. But they couldn't grow melanated humans. They had to grow like pale humans, Mzungu, Aldebarans, tall whites, who weren't fertile and stuff. Do you understand? A lot of the time, they plant these extraterrestrials in certain positions of power, so they can direct, and they fully back these people that they plant in whatever industry they plant them in. You see, like a Rockefeller, who's an Aldebaran, or like a Henry Ford of the motor industry, who's an Aldebaran, or like a Kennedy, or a Trotsky, or a Stalin, or a Hitler, or a Lenin. All these people, or a fucking Bill Gates, or a Mark Zuckerberg, they only give us these bullshit stories that we just swallow. Yeah, this kid was just some kid in college, and he just had this great idea one day. Yeah, he was vaping weed or some shit. Yeah, and he just said, "Yo, dude, I want to make an app. Yeah, that yo, everyone can just chat to each other. Facebook. Yeah, fuck off. Yeah." Or some regular dude just sat down one day in his bedroom and said, "Yo, I'm gonna make the fucking internet. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna design the internet." Come on now. So half of these shits here are not even from humans. Yeah. I was watching something on Discovery Channel. I can't remember what it was. Yeah. He was talking about certain native tribes, indigenous tribes. This was it America? South America. Yeah. I think it was Brazil or some region there, where they were saying there's still people who have not interacted with modern society. They don't know what a fucking airplane is, or a Sedgway, or fucking none of that shit. Yeah, they still running around primitive. You all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, they still running around primitive and shit. Yeah, and he said something real interesting. He said people often ask, why are these people like not learned technology? Why are they not modernized? And he says, but what's mad about that is people should be asking it the opposite way round. He's like, they're normal. He's like, we should be asking what made humans just one day just turn into these like robots. Like, we're not like them no more. We're not like animals and everyone else living with nature. We just decided, okay, we're gonna have mobile phones, internet, computers, cars, airplanes. We just fucking went somewhere else with it. And what he was saying was like, that's not normal. He said, that's normal. Them people out there still living, that's normal. You understand? He said, up to now, scientists haven't explained what caused this. It's like what I was telling when I was explaining on the last live, saying that Darwinism, Darwinist evolution, cannot explain the origin of the mind. No part of Darwinism gives any decent, credible explanation of where the mind comes from. Why do humans speak? Why did Jadefre want to write books? Why do we read books? Why do we read? Where did the mind come from? In the form of how it is, because as far as our scientists are concerned, animals don't have minds. Not like us. They might have consciousness, but they don't have minds like us. Like animals, their mind works like this. If they smell something and they was in danger, when they was in danger, they record that incident of when they was in danger. The smell, the sight, the sound, things like that. If they come across that smell again, They get the memory of bastard. This is when that shit happened. Yeah? And so they can associate the sounds and the smells and stuff. But we don't have to smell to go back to that memory. We can go back to that memory just because. We don't have to smell. I can just take myself, project myself back to that memory, or forward to a memory, or remember a smell without having that smell, or remember a feel without having that feel, or without having any similar experience. So our mind is different. And what I'm saying to you is Darwinism can't explain that. All this shit they tell us in school about Big Bang and Darwinism and this theory and that theory and evolution, it's all speculation. None of it is true. It does not work. Even the standard model of cosmology that cosmologists have, that they teach in all these Oxfords and Harvard and different, it's a theory. Meaning you can prove that that shit don't work. That shit's not right. That shit only works in various little pieces. You put all of that shit together, what they're telling you in school, it's like, hold on, this shit is all over the place, mate. This can't be the answer or the theory of everything. As to why they're still looking for the theory of everything. Do you see what I'm saying? The end of their 6,000 year run is 2024. The Messiah shall return between 2032, 2036. The 144,000 shall vanish for one day of heaven times, which is 1,000 years for earth, returning to destroy these reptiles. Do you know what? I hear what you're saying. You understand? But you see me. I say this, yeah. It's all possible, but I don't like to speak in terms of predictions of what the Anunnaki are gonna do. I just like to prepare people for the possibility that it definitely, what you're saying definitely could happen, but it also could not happen in 2020, 2036. Could not. Like I say the same as you. It could be up to 2032. It might run all the way to 2043, which will be the last time that we will have to make this connection, put it that way. That will be the last chance. After that, the Nibiru, the Anunnaki, they're gone with or without connecting with us. It's important to focus on the inner self-discipline. The physical for now is judgment and a spiritual battle. World War III is a spiritual inner battle. It's not to do with outside. And it's ironic as to how it started all in a lockdown, how we're all locked inside. So that's symbolic to me of, on a smaller scale, on the macro level, how this is an inside battle for all of us here. Do you understand? And that's why we need to focus on building our strength rather than worrying about the problems and being doomsday prophets and dooming and glooming. We need to speak about how we can raise our vibrations, speed up our vibrations and become stronger, smarter, wiser, more connected with each other, more supportive of each other. Do you understand? And more assured that we're going to make it through this. Anything else to me is just adding to the anxiety and the speculation. You understand? Which, like I said to you, at times I've slipped up and been guilty of that myself. But I definitely agree with you, Jada TV, on both points. It's so important to focus on the inner kingdom, man. And that word there, what you put discipline, you put it with self-discipline, is so important, yeah, because that the process of discipline changes you. Do you understand? It changes you. And I've said before, a lot of people don't understand the truth requires change. You're going to have to transform. I don't care how advanced you are. I don't care how new you are to it. You're going to have to transform because the paradigm that they've given us, whether we've come from whatever street we've come from, it could be the Islam street, it could be the Christian street, it could be the atheist street, even the Kemet street. Yeah, there's going to be things that because of how thoroughly they washed out real reality, yeah, there's going to be things that we come up to that is kind of like challenging our fucking paradigm with many on many different levels, man. And it's been happening with me since about 15. Do you understand? Where it's like, yo, I feel one way about something, and then by the time I'm 18, it's like, yo, I can see now why that was fucking wrong. And a lot of people who speak and content creators and that, they won't admit that. They don't want to tell you that they grow and they can make mistakes and that. I do, man. I can make mistakes. I grow. Do you understand? And that's why I interact in the way that I choose to, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and speak like I'm some kind of, you understand, like fucking, yo, I'm just trying to help us be better versions of us and be more aware of what it's going to take to change this shit. So you're asking Jada, may I ask what's the best prayer, thought pattern, or music method you use for meditation? I'd say this to you, yeah. That kind of stuff to me is personal. Whatever makes you feel most comfortable and most receptive and most relaxed and tranquil, yeah, that's the best mind state to have. Like I said, you don't have to sit in a lotus position. You don't have to do the om chant. There's no have to, yeah. Do what brings you, what feels like it's bringing you to the fullness of yourself. So if you ask me, I'll give you some suggestions. I use the om because of what it means and what I've said in my lives as to om in ancient languages, from Kemetic languages to the Arabic of today, means mother. Yeah. So in our teachings, we say, and in a lot of Asian teachings, they also say, because my friends have told me, that Om is always being said at some point or somewhere in the universe. It's never broken. Because if that cut out for like a split second or a first, if that cut out for a first or for a moment, this whole physical reality would fall apart. That that vibration, yeah, that sound of life holds all of this shit together. So I like to remember that when I'm listening to the I can't hear it now because I'm doing it through my phone. So I have to put it really low or else y'all won't be able to hear me. But I know the is carried on all the way throughout this life because it lasts about 3 hours and I'm at 2 hours and 17. Y'all keeping me on here longer and longer. It don't even feel like 2 hours and 17. Jeez. Okay. Yeah, so the also, one of my favorite meditation things is to go to nature, especially trees. Forget about people, blank them. Go talk to trees. Hug them, chat to them, confide in them, like discuss with them, plan with them, sit with your back to them, put your palms on them, hug them. I do all of that shit, yeah, every now and then. And take your shoes off and just have your soul. There's a reason why the bottom of your feet is called your soul, because that's where you ground yourself to the soul of Gaia, of Mother Earth. So it used to be that we were more connected with nature because we never wore shoes and stuff. So when we was walking on the earth, we was connected to the whole fucking neuritic system of Mother Earth. But now we've deaded the soles of our feet, and because we're mostly now wearing shoes and stuff, we never really get a chance to just walk on some grass, with no shoes, man. Sometimes no socks. Just walk on some grass, sit without your shoes and stuff. Go back to nature, to me, is the best meditation. Even if it's just watching the sunset and contemplating, man. Contemplating on certain things, yeah. Another good one is to just silence the mind. Just practice, sit in whatever comfortable position that's comfortable for you, and make sure you're in a quiet space, quiet enough where you're not being disturbed by certain different sounds and other people or TV and shit, and meditate. You can also do that in the nature. And when I say meditate, I mean just practice watching your thoughts. Don't judge. Don't get involved. Don't atch on to your thoughts. Nothing. Just watch them. Just practice watching them. That's it. Even if it's 5 minutes a day, even 2 minutes a day, watch your thoughts. Watch what type of thoughts come into your head. Do you understand? But don't judge. Yeah. And then you'll start, I'm not going to tell you what, but you'll come to a certain realization doing that. Another one is to look in the mirror and stare at yourself to the point where you separate the image of yourself from you, the consciousness. So stare at yourself to the point where you actually see that that's not me. Yeah, I'm everything that I don't see. I'm everything behind that. Another way you can do that is when you're looking in the mirror, say, I'm not this nose, I'm not this lips, I'm not this mouth, I'm not this eyes, I'm not this hair. Start again. I'm not this nose, I'm not this mouth, I'm not this eyes, I'm not this ears, I'm not this hair. Do it to the point where you really separate yourself. Where, bastard, I'm not none of this. This is just like my car, like my avatar. And then you will start getting to know yourself, which is the real you, the powerful you, the emotional you. And the voice in your head will start silencing itself. You start silencing this conversation so that when your higher self speaks to you now, the voice is a lot more clear, it's a lot more definitive, it's a lot more sure, it's a lot more real. It's not a figment of your imagination. You understand? So now you can ask your higher self questions. You can get to that point where you will have less questions to ask me and other people, because you start seeking to go to your higher self. You have all the answers and discover, bastard, I've always had all the answers inside myself. I just have to trust that I have the answers and trust in the process that if I just relax myself, everything I'm supposed to know, I'm going to know. All the love that I'm supposed to get in life, I'm going to get. All the success I'm supposed to get in life, I'm going to get. All the lessons I'm supposed to get in life, I'm going to get. So there's no reason for me to fret. There's no reason for me to live in the past. There's no reason for me to have destination addiction or light addiction. I'm going to live in the now because I trust in the process and I accept. And the more you do this, what I call armor of God meditation, these kind of practices, you put yourself more and more in the armor of God. More and more things happening in the world and in your community and in your family and in your relationship and in your work stop affecting you in such a way. Things that are happening in your financial situation or the way people are perceiving you or speaking about you, all of that shit falls into the background. It is no longer relevant. You understand? Because now you're taking mastery back of you. You are owning you. So when I'm trying to meditate in this here little room, when I shut myself out of society, I do all of them types of things. But like I said to you, make it personal for you. Chew the meat and spit out the bone. What works for you and leaves you feeling lighter and feeling like, bastard, I feel good today. Do that shit. Yeah. And also take it a day at a time. Just seek to be better than yourself yesterday. When you wake up tomorrow, say, I'm going to be better to me than I was yesterday. Or I'm going to be better in general than I was yesterday. Yeah? How? Well, I did this today. So tomorrow, I might do this. Take it a day at a time and win it each day. And you'll see how that changes your fucking life. Yeah? How you start. When I wake up, I'm going to do 5 minutes Hertz meditation, 417 healing. So I'm just going to release. As soon as I wake up and take the tension out of my shoulders, I'm going to shake out my legs, I'm going to stretch. Just 5 minutes. I'm going to do it every day until it's embedded in me now. It's now a habit. Yeah? Okay, what's next? You understand? Start like using this discipline really, because it's easy for us to speak it. Like I said with the vision boards, or say commit to say I'm going to learn the affirmation, and I'm going to say the affirmation 3 times a day, yeah, in English. And once I know it by memory in English, I'm going to learn it in the ancient language. Yeah, I'm going to repeat it to myself every day, or another one, another affirmation. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is what I would advise that we should be doing with our time, other than learning how to grow food and how to make a fucking tent or a little dwelling. You understand? Or stocking up on goods. That's the type of shit that I'll be advising people. Any advice for the awakened family member dealing with their families when it comes to all this truth? I've been seeing a lot of truth come out lately about this vax. Do you know what? Hold on, have I skipped someone? The best prayer thought pattern. Yeah, let me just finish that. So Jada TV, that's the best thought pattern. Yeah, and if you say prayer, yeah, to me the affirmation is the best way of If you want to pray, call it prayer. I'd say reverence. I'm more happy to say that's how I revere the higher ones and the Most High. Yeah, that's the best. And also the prayers of Anu. I will send them to you. If you remind me, if I forget, I'll put on the thread the prayer of Anu. To me, they're the best prayers, because Anu is the only person I'm going to pray to. Everyone else, I revere them. Anu, which is the spirit of life that is inside of me, the heavenly one, the part of me that comes from the heaven, yeah, I revere that. Yeah, so any prayer that reveres Anu like this one, Barkalum. O Heavenly One, the Most High Anu, who is the sustainer of all the worlds, we do accept the duty you have lain on us to clean up the filth made by the West and its non-submitting fools. O my sustainer, we beseech you to keep your hands over us, to control the strings of the courses of our lives, our sustainer. And if we do disagreeableness, please forgive us for our disagreeableness, for you are the only one that can raise us true followers of the news bearers, and in thy name we carry on. Amen. That's one of my favorite prayers of Anu, as to why I can just read it off my heart. Yeah, because I usually, before my eyes shut, I've got to speak to Anu, just like when my eyes open. So I usually resort to that. Yeah. But there's other ones too. Any advice for the awakened? This is Celestial Samurai now, sorry. Any advice for awakened family member dealing with their families when it comes to all this truth? This is a good one. I've been seeing a lot of truth come out lately about this vax. So first of all, yeah, you sounded like Louise now with her layers, her questions that I got chapters and layers and stuff, which is a good thing, yeah. Yeah, first of all, I'd say when it comes to this truth, sometimes less is better, sometimes less is more. And when you're newly awakened, it's so easy to just want to just climb on your rooftop and just shout to everyone, wake the fuck up. You want to tell everyone, you want to help everyone. It's very important to understand sometimes less is more. And sometimes it's not necessarily words. It's like when you're coming to new knowledge and your family members and friends see you coming to new knowledge, they're a lot of the time looking at what that knowledge does to change you. What changes that knowledge is brought in you. If there's no changes in you, you're just running around as the same person as you was before you came into contact with this knowledge, then it's likely that no matter what you're saying, people are just going to sleep on you, because actions speak louder than words. So they can't really see the benefit of the knowledge that you may or may not be obsessing over. So sometimes it's the example that does more to help your family members. And when I say example, it could just be some minor changes, like they see how calm you are in this whole fucking situation with what's going on in the world and shit, or they see how collected you are, yeah, or they see how disciplined you are or committed you are to. Do you understand? There's certain way you got to carry yourself now if you want people, if you want to open a channel where people, you're going to be able to give them that knowledge when it comes to your family and friends. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of the time, if you do that, you won't even have to approach them. They will approach you and ask you, yo, what are you doing? Do you understand? Because, yo, I'm bugging out and you just seem so calm, and I come to your house and it's so relaxed and blah, blah, blah. It's all energy, man. So, like I said, the biggest changes we can make, yeah, all begin with the changes we make in ourselves, in how we carry ourselves, in how we come across to other people, in how we take responsibility for our actions, especially our shadow, with the short parts of ourselves, the parts of ourselves that have ended friendships and ended relationships and stopped opportunities. And you understand, when we start taking accountability and ownership of ourselves, then what we're saying becomes a lot more powerful when it comes to family and when it comes to friends, because your actions and your purpose of presence and stuff start speaking for itself. I hope that answers you without going to, you know, that was the first piece. So that's how I would deal with family members. I would kind of try and Just give them little snacks instead of big main meals when it comes to this knowledge. Give them little snacks, little pointers, and especially come from their angle. Like if your family are into Christianity, speak to them through Christianity. If they're coming through Islam, speak to them through Islam. If they're coming through science, speak to them through science. Do you understand? And that's why I say to my circle, it's so important for us to dip back into these schools and learn these shits so that when it comes time for us to articulate this message, we can pass this information on ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? All of us can do this. It's not just about having a leader. It's about all of us taking the lead on this shit. Yeah. So that's what I'd say for the family part. When it comes to all this truth, I've been seeing a lot of truth come out lately about this vax. Let the vax speak for itself, man. I wrote 2 books about that fucking stuff. Yeah. And I've never been censored so much in my life to the point now where I can't even grow my channels. Like, this is probably the best I've did. Yeah, because on YouTube, and then it's not much different on Facebook. They just banned me the other day for something that was posted on December 21st. They said they're going to ban me for 24 hours. I think it's up now. But same here on YouTube. I've been restricted on this YouTube about 6-7 times. I ain't even got up and running. But they find shit to just say, yo, this misinformation shit here. I've had videos took off on the whole 9. So I came to the point where I was like, yo, I gotta let this shit speak for itself because it's all out there. You don't have to convince nobody no more. If people choose to be ignorant, yeah, emphasize the word choose. That's a choice that they made to ignore all of this stuff, all of these people that have fucking been getting incapacitated and whatnot, and they still need you or anybody else to get them interested in, hold on, let me find out what's really going on. I don't really feel, I say that same thing to my friend Peter. I say, yo, if you notice, I don't really post on that shit no more. I went through a madness in 2021. I had just bought my book out in 2020, Coronation, the Scamdemic. And I was gassed about, yo, a black man writing about this would be good. Yo, people slept on that book. Yeah, Treasures in the Sand sells way more than that book there. Don't nobody want to hear what I got to say about that shit there. I found out, like, shockingly, like, bastard, these people want to listen to these Muzungu, these allopathic priests of Baal and shit, man. They just too far, can't reach them. Yeah, but for the few that did buy the book, yeah, and for the legacy, because the nephew was like, don't watch that. The book will pop when you're gone. This shit's bigger than you. Write part 2. I was like, oh, hell no. So I had to write part 2, COVID-19 84. Do you understand? And then for 2020, the end of 2020, all for the whole of 2021, it was a madness, man. Yeah, where it was just like Facebook deactivated my shit. Yeah, and then after a year, just sent me a thing and told me my shit's reactivated. I've never heard of no one getting banned for no year. Yeah, but they banned me for a year. As soon as the scamdemic came out, we was already talking about the metaverse. We published that shit on Friday the 13th of November 2020. We didn't use the word metaverse, we used the word augmented reality, which they're saying is what the metaverse is. So we was already talking about the smart grid, augmented reality, augmented humans, cloning, robotoids, the whole shit. The 400-year prophecy from Genesis 15:13, and linking that 400 years to Wuhan 400, which is the wonton suit. I don't want to say the name. You know what I'm talking about. So we was linking so much in this coronation book. And part 2 is even worse, COVID-19 84, that they just shut us down. Somebody must have just said, yo, shut my man up. Yeah, because he's published that. I posted something from my book on Facebook. As soon as I did that, they shut me down, man. They sent me a message and said, yo, they didn't even give a reason. They didn't even say if it was that. They just banned that and said, you're restricted for 30 days. Then in the morning when I went on, it was like, yo, your account is deactivated. No one can see this but you. Your account is deactivated and you've got some, I can't remember how long, to get all the pictures that you want from your account. All that crap. And then people started telling me, your account's still on, you know. But when I go on there, it just says the same thing, deactivated. Yeah, and then at the end of the year, they put it back on. And then the other day, they told me something from December 21st last year, they've banned me for 24 hours. Yeah, Instagram does the same with TZT. If you notice, that was near 2000. And then It just dropped 50 people one day. Now it's back at 1958 or something like that. Yeah, 1,958. It won't grow. They told me on there, we're gonna restrict this page for how much was it? 30 days. No, not 30 days. It was 3 months. However, 90 days. 90 days. You're gonna have restrictions for 90 days. TZT, Jedefre, the Glitch MC, all of them. Yeah. So I don't speak about that shit there. I think right now there's enough out there for people to see. There's videos coming out of people's asses, ears, nose, arse, videos about this person got this has got this in it, the hydras, the nano, the fucking the heart problems. They're saying all of a sudden now 300,000 people in England have got heart problems, young people. They got heart murmurs and shit. Yeah, my friend's got them, Brett, yeah, because he went and took the fucking thing when we was telling him not to take it. Collapsed, turning blue, with his swallowing his tongue and shit. You understand? He's crazy, man. So I would say, there's not much you have to say about that stuff. Yeah, this is speaking for itself because we're in a time where the truth is defending itself and it's come out swinging. You understand? So people have been conned and more every day, even though they're trying, like now you see they're not even talking about it in the way that there was. It's like it weren't even the problem that it was. They damn near shut down civilization. Like never been, the whole world has never been shut down all at the same time. They shut down the whole fucking shit to reset this shit and give us this unrecognizable world. Yeah. That if people can't see that one, that thing never worked, that they said it was gonna do. The measles vaccine, you don't have to wear no fucking nothing after you've took that or scared about getting measles after that. Yeah, or any other thing. So this thing here speaks for itself. Nobody can't defend that shit. But the truth is so obscure and people are so programmed that they can actually sit down and listen to these guys that come on TV and just fucking waffle through the whole thing and just talk bob. You understand? So I really think like it's a lost cause trying to advise people about that stuff. I know how it feels because it's family and you want to save them, but listen, we can't save everyone, man. It's about saving yourself right now. If you don't know what's going on, the devil is everywhere and people just can't see him. So if they can't see him for themselves, you ain't gonna be able to show them. Like, yeah, no, you can't save anyone, man. Sadly, but the Matrix 4 showed that with Trinity when she had to choose between Neo and the Matrix. But you see what it is it's always a choice between being selfish, what you love most, being selfish with that, and like being for the greater good of everyone. Do you understand? It's always a choice. Yeah? Like, but with that being said, it's time for us to really start challenging the narrative, man, in whatever way you can. You understand? It's up to us as to why I do this. Because if we're not willing to set an example and to challenge and to be upfront and strong, standing strong on what we're talking about, then we've lost. Everybody's lost. Just like they lost, the Illuminati, like we've lost. Like a lot of people think because we say they've already lost, yeah, it means that we've won. It don't mean that. Like if we don't do the work, we lose with them. Do you understand what I'm saying? We don't win just because they lost. We will fucking lose with them if we don't do what it takes to separate ourselves from the poison of what's been going on Earth and what's maimed us and kept us in this 10% and this slow, dense vibration. You understand? If we don't transform ourselves and recognize that the truth requires change inside of us, not outside of us, inside of us. We need to start working on ourselves and commit to becoming the best version of ourselves. Do you understand? And when we do that, everything will come to light. And I'm not saying we're not doing it, but we need to turn the fucking gears up just like they did on us. We need to turn the gears up, man, because yo, out here it's getting harder out here, and they're restricting this type of information more and more. You understand? All you're gonna get is more of the same. Yeah, they're just, yo, we're gonna keep recycling the same boring old paradigms and ways of thinking that's never got us nowhere. Do you understand? So I salute all of you who tuned in for this, yeah? But basically, that's how they've did it. That's how they've kept this whole fucking scam honest. It's got all types of moving parts. And I'm somebody who's been studying all of these moving parts to be able to put them in books. And I can see clearly how they've kept this scam on humanity, yeah? But it's not always been like that for me. I started seeing real clearly the last pieces to this scam right in 2020, when a lot of things became clearer, like the last parts of certain things that, oh, yo, ties together. So this is a long one for you guys, 2 hours and 40 minutes. Lick it back as many times as you have to. Take the references as always that I give you and fucking study them, yeah? And you'll see the shit will unpack into even more discussion, you get me? And some of this stuff that will be revealed to you will be mouth-watering. It'll be like sitting down for a 3-course meal, man, and you just, yo, enjoying that, yeah? So I'm gonna leave it there, man. I can't believe I've been on here for no 2 hours and 41. Myself, I don't even watch videos that long. If I see it's like over 2 hours, I probably won't watch it unless it's something really important. But salute to all of you guys, yeah? Y'all are stars, man, for sitting down and listening for so long and making this conversation so interactive. And if I went through the list and I missed out anyone, yeah, that's my bad. I never did it deliberately. And I appreciate you guys just as much, yeah? Just as much. And remember who you are. Put it back together, man. Take this and take whatever else you need and chew the meat and spit out the bone. And get back to us being super gods, yeah? And assisting each other. Because this war about to get peak, you can see with all this Ukraine shit and everything, even if it don't kick off with them, we know this is getting worse and worse, and it's getting closer and closer to one day we all wake up and we're just like, fucking hell, this thing's kicked off, man, and it's kicked off all over the place. Not just Russia and Ukraine. China's gone into Taiwan with all of these jets and shit. Yeah, India and Pakistan is fucking, yo, everybody's clashing, man. Republicans and Democrats, everyone. You understand? So prepare yourself, man, and know that it's leading. For them to get back any type of control, they're going to have to pop this alien shit, because people are shit themselves. If they are bastard, there's fucking UFO invasion in America. Do you know how much people would shit themselves? Look at what COVID did. Look how he locked down the world. Imagine one day they just told you, yo, fucking aliens are here, get in your fucking house. Do you know how much people are going under the table? Under the cupboard. And so get ready, man. And Medjay, get training. Get training. Ain't no toy soldiers out here. We're going to be called upon. And we're going to have to defend and protect and liberate, man. This is for real. This war's on all fronts. We love you all. That's the end of the transmission. Peace.